All right. First off, let's give Western Kentucky a lot of credit. I thought they came in with the right mindset, and in the end, they wanted it more than we did. I thought we looked sluggish on defense in terms of getting the spots, and then it came down to making plays, making free throws, and you go back. The course of a game, free throws kind of add up. And they made theirs, especially the big guy who's making free throws going down the stretch. And they made some clutch plays. But like I said, talent-wise, a very talented basketball team. And this is another learning curve for our young basketball team. How do you handle the success? And you got to have the understanding. You got to come out and you got to defend. And I didn't think we defended the way we're capable of defending. But let's give credit to Western Kentucky as well.
Mike, what was the plan coming out of timeout with 19 seconds left? They'd taken the lead, and then what were you guys looking for?
Obviously, we wanted to get the floor spread and get it inside, attack, get a foul, or let's get the ball into Dan. And if they collapse, which they were doing, let's get it to the shooters. We had a little more success than when we opened up the floor and we were in attack mode. They made a good play. Clock went down, and they made a good play. Big fella blocked the shot. But we were trying to get the ball in Dan, trying to get to the free throw line. I think that was what we were trying to do, and try to find Isaiah spotting up or Mason spotting up. So we had the floor spread. Oh, you talking about the one Isaiah? You talking about the one he shot? Well, the guy made a play. I thought if he went maybe one more step, he had Adriel wide open. So, but hindsight's 20/20. That's the learning curve.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Our football team is gonna come down here ready to play. We're gonna practice really hard. We're gonna play really hard. I hope that we play well, but I know that we'll play hard. And we're gonna find out about which one of those football clubs wants to hit each other hard or long.
This
It's all dope here.
is
Answer me now.
No Way Sports Talk.
We need to hire a batter coach up there.
Wow.
From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios for all your commercial truck needs.
Speaking facts.
How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
I didn't know that you already had the mic on. Did you happen to find a longer version of our guy Ed Foley yesterday, or did you look for that?
I have the one.
I heard a longer version.
There's a longer version of it.
Okay, just a little bit, and I kind of wanted to get more of it because Ed Foley, the guy that you're hearing there, is happy that he is coaching this football team. Now I don't know Ed Foley. He might be happy in life in general. Ed Foley might be just the cup of coffee that's walking around everywhere. He's walking around. He is the cup of coffee. There are other people who walk around, and they're the nap. They make the rest of us just want to take a nap. They don't infuse energy. Coffee.
Yeah.
If you're a cup of coffee, you're the energy source in the room. You're bringing energy to the room. Then there's people who make coffee nervous. Like they're so on edge, they make a cup of coffee nervous. And, there's just all kinds of people.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we sit here talking about all these things in sports, and people are griping, and people are happy, and it is sports. I mean, you get the emotion, you get the ups and the downs. You want to win. It feels great to win. You don't want to lose. And there's all kind of reactions that happen along with the results. And I just thought, there's a guy, this Ed Foley character. He's the interim coach at Temple. And if you look up Ed Foley, and I'm going to do it right now. Bart's already, he's got it on his screen. I'm going to look up Ed Foley right now. Ed Foley's a football coach. And let me tell you about let me just give you his career. Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah.
He actually, before we do that, I want to hear a little bit more of Ed Foley. And this is yesterday. We played a little bit of this for you on the show. Okay, he's in Shreveport doing one of these bowl build-up press conferences. The two coaches that are going to play in the game fly in early. They come down there and they do this press conference, and it's really standard baloney. But Ed Foley came in, and he he made the people that showed up happy they were there. He brought the energy. So let's just listen to a little bit of Ed Foley.
But our football team is going to come down here ready to play. We're going to practice really hard. We're going to play really hard. I hope that we play well, but I know that we'll play hard. And we're going to find out about Duke, and we're going to find out about Temple, and we're going to find out about which one of those football clubs wants to hit each other harder or longer. That's what we're going to decide here on the 27th.
I don't know who's that. Surely that's not the local media. Surely that, I don't know. But here's the point. Okay, Jeff Collins just left Temple to become the Georgia Tech coach. And Ed Foley's, he seems like a happy fellow. Again, I don't know him. Somebody could call me from Temple today and say, this guy's really a jackwagon, and he just happened to be excited on that particular day. He played at Bucknell in the mid-'80s. He was a center. He was a guard. And his college football coaching career after that spans from Albany to Penn to Williams to Jacksonville to Fordham to Hofstra to Temple. He arrived at Temple in 2008, and he never left. He's happy at Temple. And you heard he loves his football. He loves his guy. He went on to say he wants people to spend time with his players. And, I mean, he's saying all kinds of stuff that just doesn't happen. You don't want anybody spending time with your players. You want to take your players to Shreveport and everybody come hang out with them. You want them left alone until they're doing the little things. But he's just saying – he's saying stuff. He's fired up. And why am I bringing this up? Because when we look at people who complain on social media or people who are happy on social media and we agree or disagree with their opinion, a lot of times it's just that their personality coming out regardless of the topic. So the personalities don't really change. Some people just want something to be angry about, and some people just want something to be happy about. And then in the middle, you have people who are just kind of going back and forth. They're kind of going like, hey, it's pretty good now. And to be honest with you, it's not really good right now. And they're dealing with the information. Jim Harbaugh and Mike Anderson share a little bit of something in common. Both of the jobs that they're doing are better than when they took over the job. They're doing a better job than the last guy or guys, plural, did in that same spot. But let me ask you this. How often do you hear about that? How often? Now, if you were to ask Ed Foley, hey, man, what do you think about Jim Harbaugh? You could play this back again. Now I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and I want you to just pretend he's talking. Like, Phil, put Jim Harbaugh's name in instead of his team.
But our football team is going to come down here ready to play. We're going to practice really hard. We're going to play really hard. I hope that we play well, but I know that we'll play hard. And we're going to find out about Duke, and we're going to find out about Temple, and we're going to find out about which one of those football clubs wants to hit each other harder or longer. That's what we're going to decide here on the 27th. And while we're getting ready to do that, I hope that you see the finest group of young men that's ever been through Shreveport.
I mean, that's just nothing but hyperbole. The finest group of men that have ever been through Shreveport. How many times have they played the Independence Bowl? And we're to believe this Temple team is bringing in the nicest, the finest young man that's ever been through there? Okay.
Well, it is Shreveport.
But again, there's two college football teams that go to Shreveport.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not depending on the beautiful, wonderful residents of Shreveport. I'm saying, Ed Foley's going to make it sound great. He's fired up. He's excited. He's a good, energetic, I think he sees the good in people kind of guy. So if he's talking about Jim Harbaugh, it's going to be the same way. If he's talking about Mike Anderson, it's going to be the same way. But what you don't hear a lot about is you don't hear a lot about the good that Jim Harbaugh's done. Do you even know? You even know what Jim Harbaugh's done? I had Bart research it, so I don't want to ask him. I'll ask you. Tell me the good of Jim Harbaugh. I'm not asking you to be accurate with all the stats. What do you think Jim Harbaugh's done that's any good at Michigan?
Well, they've won quite a few games.
Wow.
I know he hasn't beat Ohio State.
That's all you hear.
That's all you hear.
That's all you hear. Not in the college football playoff.
Nope.
Hasn't won a Big Ten championship. So what's he doing here? What's he doing here, man? Well, he's paid $5 million or whatever it is a year. Yeah. Yeah, he is. And hey, can't stinking beat Ohio State. What are we paying him for? Well, you're paying him because he's better than all the last guys that you had, dating back to like stinking Bo Schembechler. And Mike Anderson, same kind of situation. Hasn't gotten where you want to go, some of you, really everybody, including him. But you go back to the 1950 era, and Mike Anderson's the third best coach in Arkansas history, okay? Behind Eddie Sutton, Nolan Richardson, he's right there. He's number 3. His 64 winning percentage is right at the program's historical average. He's been one of Arkansas's better coaches. He's just not a Hall of Famer right now. Jim Harbaugh has not won a big title. He hasn't even won a division title. He's 0-4 against Ohio State. He's 2-2 against Michigan State. But he's led Michigan to 3 10-win seasons in 4 years. The last time that happened, when the Wolverines won 10 or more in 3 straight seasons, was from 97 to 99. And the last time before that was 1977 to 80 under Bo Schembechler. So he's done something that only one other has done since Bo Schembechler. And the reality is there are some parallels here. Michigan and Arkansas have both had a lot of success in their history, but they haven't had a lot of success in recent times. At least the success they're having now doesn't match the success they once had. And I guess that's what, some people want to see, and I get that. I think everybody, like I said a moment ago, wants to see it. But people ask the question sometimes, like, what's going to make you happy? Well, it ain't a football coach, and it ain't a basketball coach. It really isn't. Like, it really comes down to kind of who you are, is as far as how you react to certain things. Like, people are people. It's not necessarily the outcome on the field that has people reacting like that. I mean, sure, when something really bad happens, it's not like you have different reactions to positive and negative things. But generally speaking, it's interesting, the people that come at us or me personally on social media are the same people. Like if they just want to dig and push buttons and troll and be rude and whatever, it's the same people. And then what happens? You click on their profile and it's just real easy to see, like, wow, look at that. Generally unhappy looking kind of person.
100% of the time.
Almost, yeah. It's and I got to this because K-State hires this coach from the FCS who's done nothing but win their championships. He's 67-6, 3 national titles in 4 years, and they're playing for one this year. They're the 1 seed, and they might make it 4 out of 5. And Kansas State fans are just freaking out. Not all of them, some people. And by the way, you hear this too, like, those Kansas State fans or those Tennessee fans or those Arkansas fans. The people that are the loudest, most obnoxious, most annoying, least reasonable, irrational are the ones who are the loudest, usually. And so when we talk about fan bases, a lot of times you're dealing with that section of each fan base, and it's like they're having a contest to be the biggest bleep, right?
Yeah.
And then that's how we determine, like, man, those fans at Kentucky. But what's it going to take to make people happy? I think is not just winning. I think it actually is going to be interesting to hear from fans what it takes to make them happy. Is it because if it's only winning, if that's all you get, if without winning, you're going to be unhappy. There are 65 Power 5 teams when you include Notre Dame. Which fan bases are happy right now? How many are happy with the coach they have, the situation they're in, the direction of their program? Let's just say it's Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Northwestern, Utah, Washington, Washington State, Iowa State, Purdue, Clemson, Texas A&M, Nebraska, Michigan State, Stanford, Syracuse, Florida, Notre Dame, and they're not all knocking on the door of the playoff this year. But that's 18 schools, 27.7% of fan bases that are happy right now. So everybody else is miserable. So let me ask you, as a fan, maybe you don't have the personality of Ed Foley. And that's okay. Maybe you're not just, I mean, come on, who's excited to go to Shreveport?
He's the first.
Ed Foley would be, I don't think he wouldn't sound any different if they were in Maui. Shreveport.
The finest group of young men that's ever been through Shreveport. I hope you have a chance to see them, hold a door open for you, or say thank you for being here, or be truly appreciative, because guys, I love this team. And I love these players, and I know you will too. When you get.
By the way, is that the same thing? If you love this team and you love the players?
I think that's kind of like
saying.
I think that's kind of like saying, like,
I love this team. Can't stand the guys on it. I mean, it's the same thing.
Well,
but he's just fired up.
know,
Oh, yeah.
he's saying, like, I love that helmet, man.
He's fired up.
He loves Temple.
He's fired up, and he would be fired up regardless. But I think it's interesting to find out what each fan, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I don't want to sit here and tell you what makes you happy. So maybe it's not interesting at all. But I'm kind of curious, like, what does it take? What will it take to make you happy? Do you really know? I'm talking about with your sports team. I'm talking about, in this case, probably Arkansas football, maybe Arkansas basketball. Are you happy? Are you happy right now with Chad Morris? Does 2-10 mean you can't be happy with Chad Morris at all? Does it mean you're disgusted with your football program? Right now, today? 877-447-4040. It's the T-Mobile listener line. It's 17 after the hour. Saul got a clock the size of, well, it's a big clock.
It is a big clock.
And it doesn't have seconds.
Not have seconds, no.
Which in this business, everything happens down to the second. But I am a happy person.
Hey, it's better than no clock, and it's better than a wrong clock.
I'm a happy person.
The finest group of young men that's ever been through Shreveport. I hope you have a chance to see them, hold a door open for you, or say thank you for being here, or be truly appreciative, because guys, I love this team. And I love these players, and I know you will too when you get around. Please get around our players. They are going to love you. They are going to love Shreveport, and you're going to love them. And they are going to be so appreciative of being here.
Look, whatever.
Two different things right there.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Razorback women's basketball is back inside Bud Walton Arena on Sunday, December 16th at 2 p.m. for a matchup with Prairie View A&M, presented by Cox. Tickets are $5 for adults and free for all kids 12 and under. Bring a teddy bear to toss onto the floor during halftime, with proceeds benefiting the Salvation Army. Plus, the first 500 fans will receive a free holiday ornament. Get your tickets at the door or call 1-800-982-HOGS or visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com. Stand side by side with Razorback women's basketball.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Fleet Center of Arkansas is hosting a toy drive benefiting Arkansas Children's Northwest, now through December 16th. Bring in one toy valued at $25 and receive $500 off your down payment. Bring in two toys, receive $1,000 off. Fleet Center of Arkansas has huge savings on the highest quality vehicles of your choice and offers a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Stop by Fleet Center of Arkansas in Rogers off Hudson Road. drop off a toy, and find the right vehicle for the job.
So you hear that the Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots are a chance to win a ridiculous amount of money, and you want to get in on the action. The Quick Pick option makes getting a ticket simple and fast. Just stop by your Arkansas Scholarship Lottery retail store and ask the cashier for a Quick Pick. Your computer-generated numbers are printed out in seconds, so play your lucky numbers or play it quick. Just play. Either way could be your ticket to more. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Greg McElroy joining us on the First Security Bank Hotline. Former Alabama and NFL quarterback, now ESPN college football analyst, and you can catch him mornings on ESPNU Radio. Greg, great to have you on, man. Thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, you got it, Bo. How you doing, brother?
I'm well, and you were on a topic today that we talk about fairly often here, which is how difficult the Arkansas job can be. I know it's asking you to repeat yourself a little, but you guys were on the topic of difficult jobs today. Where is Arkansas on that list?
It's up there, man. The one thing that I would say about Arkansas, though, is that the fans, albeit, they want to win, they're reasonable about their expectations. So, I would put Arkansas not in the same sense as like a Kansas State. We got on the topic today because Kansas State hired Chris Kleiman, from North Dakota State, and I'm like, man, if you could take a job, you're at North Dakota State, you're going 65-5 over the last few years. You're just stepping into a role that's nearly impossible. So that's kind of how we got into the rabbit hole of most difficult jobs. And Arkansas came up, and I've felt this way for a while since Texas A&M got in the league. The Arkansas job is the toughest in the SEC and among the toughest in the Power 5. I really believe that because Arkansas used to have a ticket to all the players in the state of Texas, and not even just players, too, like just students. Like students that wanted a Southeastern Conference experience could go from Texas to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to Arkansas and pay in-state tuition and have that SEC experience. Like all my friends are Arkansas fans, every single one of them. So it's been a challenge since Texas A&M got in the league because now kids can say, well, I'll just stay in state and I'll have that same experience and I'll get to play for a state school that I'm proud of and I'll be able to contend, hopefully, for in the nicest facilities in college football for an SEC championship someday. So I think that A&M made the Arkansas job exponentially more difficult.
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Got something to say? Join the show by calling the T-Mobile listener line at 877-447-4040. Join America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile. Here is Bo Mattingly.
Maybe we need to get Sydney in here today. She didn't make it in here yesterday. We did the whole thing with Pete, and I don't know what it is when we tell the interns, hey, come on in, and they just like, who, me? Like, do I now? Later? What?
What?
And Sydney just no-showed yesterday. She stayed back there in the control room, and just never came in here. And so we're not going to let that happen a second straight day. So you're in here now. Ryder is not here today.
He is not, no.
Something about school or something. Which I've, one of the things, I don't know what you do for a living or if you have interns, but I would just say never let school get in the way of your intern showing up at work.
No.
Like that's not how it's supposed to work. We need more real life experience in this world. Hey, Sydney.
Hi.
What? So, I don't, it's just experience that we need to gain here.
Make sure you
get up on that microphone.
Mic right close.
I wouldn't be too close to it because it's the one that Clay uses, but usually. But by the way, we need to get some sort of sanitary thing for that. Something we could upgrade.
Yeah, especially this time of season.
Can't have people just using the same microphones, and especially when we ask them to get really close to it.
Okay.
It's something to add to. Now that you've got the clock figured out.
Sydney is now leaving. I don't know why.
Sydney, have you ever seen a clock that big?
No, that's a new one.
So
It breaks the record.
it's a large clock, isn't it?
I like how it has the temperature.
It does have that.
It's got the
temp,
day
there's your
and
day.
the date and the temperature along with the time, but we don't have seconds. So we don't know how far we are away from if we have a network break that's going to hit at a certain time. I don't know. Like if it's 1 minute from now, I don't know if we're 60 seconds or 10 seconds away.
Keeps you on your toes, though.
Yes. Yeah. It can also cause you to miss, time things. So, yeah, there it is. Saul's showing it on for the live streaming purposes that we're doing. Sydney, are you happy with Chad Morris?
Yeah.
As a Razorback student?
Yeah.
Are you happy with Mike Anderson as a Razorback student?
Yeah. I mean, he's been here a while. I think he's done good things. I understand what people are saying, though, because we haven't made it, as far in the tournament.
I don't feel like I can hear her well enough, Saul. I feel like we have to. I know you're over there taking video of the clock, but I feel like
Sydney's mic needs to go up.
I don't either that or she's going to have to project louder.
I'll talk a little louder.
Who's training you, Sydney? Who's training you? Who is your immediate intern boss here?
Bart.
How's Bart doing?
He's doing good. Very communicative. Is that a word? Communicates well.
Communicate.
Yeah. I was going to say communicative, but I don't know if that's
good
a word.
change. No, it's good. Good shift.
Yeah.
What have you learned from Bart?
I've learned the importance of being organized and having good research. He has me do a lot of research for him, which I love
So you're the
doing.
one that does all the research.
Not all of it.
And he kind of passes it off as his own.
Wow.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow, I don't think I've ever done that, but thanks.
Well, nothing's ever come to me that said it came from Sydney's research.
I'm pretty sure it has. You just haven't noticed.
Where does it say that?
Well, not anything in today's notes.
Well, where does it ever say that?
I usually
Bart,
make
never
a
mind.
note.
Bart's he's a credit thief.
Oh my gosh.
With his
he's about as red as that clock right now.
Yeah, he is.
I'm just kidding.
Do you agree with Bart on Bart's opinions because he's your boss, or do you sometimes tell him that he's wrong?
No, I have my own opinions about a lot of issues. I think we're very similar, though. If I disagreed with something, I'd definitely let him know. But we haven't come across that bridge yet. So.
Do you agree with Bart that Christmas Vacation is the best Christmas movie ahead of The Christmas Story?
I'm a really big Elf fan, but
if you had to choose,
not.
If you had to choose between these two stories or between these two movies, which one would you choose? Christmas Vacation or A Christmas Story?
A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story ahead of Christmas Vacation?
Probably Christmas Vacation, just because I remember more from it. My mom showed me A Christmas Story, though. She cries every time.
She cries every time.
Yeah.
Does anybody cry when they watch A Christmas Vacation?
Maybe tears of laughter.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's crying.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you want for Christmas, Sydney?
My rent paid for.
That's good.
That's my tuition paid for.
That's good. Practical.
Yeah.
You're learning. You're doing great. How much school you got left?
I'll graduate next December.
All right. So, are you planning on being around Sports Talk anymore, or have you gotten tired of it?
Oh yeah, I would definitely want to be here.
Really?
The next year, yeah.
That's fantastic. What do you think of Pete? How's Pete grown since you've been here?
Oh, he's taught me everything I know besides Bart. So he.
Have you noticed a different?
We might need to fix this.
Have you noticed a different? Yeah. Have you noticed a different look from Pete? He realized that. Go ahead.
He's wearing collared shirts the last couple days.
Yeah.
Can I tell my Pete story? From
and the other thing is he's not wearing a hat.
That's true.
He's parting his hair.
You need to work on Ryder though. That hood's not gonna.
I don't know if he has
parting his hair,
but he's combing his hair.
Yeah. Ryder needs to take some notes.
Are you putting product in your hair, Pete?
Yeah, my girlfriend got me some product.
Wow.
Yeah.
Had to throw that in there. Can't have product in your hair on your own. Your girlfriend had to go get it.
She's throwing it in your hair.
I've just never done it before until it was there. You know.
All right.
Hey, you can get closer to the mic too, Pete.
This is great. I hope you're enjoying this the seasonal radio that we're doing with the interns. Sydney, you stick around. We're going to continue to. I think Sydney needs to be on the air at least once a week.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think her and Pete should probably host the next time I'm gone.
Have an intern host day.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. I'd like to see what you guys can do without Bart's thumb in your back, demanding, that you do his job. And does he ever? Well, let's not get into that. I don't want to know what all Bart takes credit for. That's really Sydney's work. But I do want to know, but I'm not sure we publicly need to know. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. It's why Clay should name his magazine Clay's Football Magazine. But instead, it's Hogs Illustrated. But Chad Morris has 6 of the top 100 Texas players committed. And Ben Hicks, the quarterback at SMU, most of this past season, has announced he's transferring. He's a grad transfer. Arkansas is a logical candidate because of Chad Morris's affiliation with Ben Hicks, having been there, for most of his career. And so we'll touch on that as well. Sydney, thanks for stopping by. You're doing a great job, and we look forward to continuing to have you stop by and I don't know, maybe drop some nuggets of wisdom. You just let us know what it is you want to talk about.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks, Bo.
Good. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Pete, I thought she was a lot better than you were yesterday.
I'd have to agree, yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that we've all noticed that with just a handful of days left of college, you've turned over a new leaf. No hat, comb your hair, brush your teeth, collared shirts, hygiene's on another level, wristwatch. You are a man ready to go out in the world, son.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The holiday season is here, and T-Mobile is the perfect place to find the perfect gift, like the Samsung Galaxy S9. Right now, T-Mobile has some of the season's best deals on the hottest phones, which means there's never been a better time to get the Samsung Galaxy S9. But the holidays aren't going to last forever, and neither are these great deals. So don't miss your chance to get the perfect gift. Check out all the deals at T-Mobile.com or head to a T-Mobile store today.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
All right. First off, let's give Western Kentucky a lot of credit. I thought they came in with the right mindset, and in the end, they wanted it more than we did. I thought we looked sluggish on defense in terms of getting to spots, and then it came down to making plays, making free throws, and you go back, the course of a game, free throws kind of add up. And they made theirs, especially the big guy who's making free throws going down the stretch. And they made some clutch plays. And but like I said, talent-wise, a very talented basketball team. And this is another learning curve for our young basketball team. How do you handle the success? And you got to have the understanding. You got to come out and you got to defend. And I didn't think we defended the way we're capable of defending. But let's give credit to Western Kentucky as well.
Mike, what was the plan coming out of the timeout with 19 seconds left? They'd taken the lead, and then what were you guys looking for?
Obviously, we wanted to get the floor spread and get it inside, attack, get a foul, or let's get the ball into Dan. And if they collapse, which they were doing, let's get it to the shooters. We had a little more success than when we opened up the floor and we were in attack mode. They made a good play. Clock went down, and they made a good play. Big fella blocked the shot. But we were trying to get the ball in Dan, trying to get to the free throw line. I think that was what we were trying to do, and try to find Isaiah spotting up or Mason spotting up. So we had the floor spread. Oh, you talking about the one Isaiah? You talking about the one he shot?
No, I'm sorry.
Well, the guy made a play. I thought if he went maybe one more step, he had Adriel wide open. So, but hindsight's 20/20. That's the learning curve. You got to learn how to make plays and make the right play. But the play before that, you go down and all we got to do is defend. I don't know how, but we had a guy to fall, Nan fall. I don't know how, and they left the big guy wide open. And somebody came over to help, and now that Nelson gets a wide open layup. So that's a breakdown in your defense.
Just feel Western Kentucky controlled tempo both halves pretty much?
I thought for the most part they did. We had some spurts there in the second half, even when we got down. I thought early in the game we made some shots early on. The motion to come and playing home was there, but I thought they did a good job of controlling tempo. And then when you don't make shots, obviously it's going to rely a lot on your defense. And like I said, I just thought we were a little sluggish. And I don't know if the Colorado State hangover coming from there. We shot the ball well and played well. Then it's a quick turnaround. But at the end of the day, they made more plays than we did. They had one more play that they made that we did.
Other than Sills, did you feel the bench just wasn't up to what it's been?
They've been playing better. They've playing much better. Though they didn't play well. And as I said, that's a big component of our basketball team. It is our bench guys coming in and bringing energy and bringing that defensive mindset. And so we didn't do that tonight. And so it's a learning curve that every game we play is going to be a big game. And teams going to come, whether we play at home or on the road, they're going to come and leave it out on the floor. And you'll want to. It's got to be much bigger and better than theirs. And I thought they wanted a little bit more than we did.
How'd you feel Sills did as far as the second half?
Dez did well. I thought Dez was he did what he does. I thought he willed us back into this game. We went down, I think, 8 points, and I thought his defensive presence out there, his energy level, attacking the basket, finishing.
And now, the Ozark Sportsman Supply Hog Update.
Myron Cunningham committing to Arkansas Tuesday out of Iowa Central Community College. The offensive tackle choosing Arkansas over Oklahoma isn't expected to come in and make an immediate impact. The SEC Network's Greg McElroy on Chad Morris's recruiting success.
I'm not shocked because right now you can sell optimism, you can sell hope, and you can absolutely sell early playing time. So those are three things that recruits kind of gravitate towards. Early playing time, probably more than anything else, considering they're undergoing a huge shift in philosophy.
The early signing period begins December 19th.
It's been like a resurgence of players coming out, more than it's been, in my tenure here before. And I thought that speaks well because we're not only getting the best players, I think, Chuck, that are in our state, but these are some of the best players in the country. And I think that's what people are seeing.
Arkansas heading to the capital city this weekend once finals are over. The Hogs hosting UTSA at Verizon Arena. The Roadrunners currently 3-6 on the season, losing to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State earlier in the year. Tip-off at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And lastly, we want to wish Mike Anderson a very happy birthday. I'm Alyssa Orange for the Big Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. Also, late-breaking word that Chibuzi Nwana, JUCO offensive lineman, has committed to Arkansas today, ahead of a couple other schools. I think Louisville and who was the other one? Cincinnati. The update brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply. By the way, it's Arkansas' second commitment from a JUCO offensive lineman in as many days. The first annual All Fridays Matter sales happening this weekend at the Ozarks. They know that payday Fridays mean you have to stretch the dollar, especially during Christmas time. So the sale this weekend is going to smash all the other Friday sales, even Black Friday. But they also have a Black Friday repeat sale going on this weekend. So go check out all the brands, the big name brands, all the savings, up to 70% off both the supply store and the Outpost store, the clothing side, Highway 412, west of Springdale and Tawnytown. It's an experience unlike any other when it comes to shopping at the Ozarks. Let's go to the First Security Bank hotline, and we welcome in Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Greg, thanks for making time for us. Always great to have you on the show.
Happy to be here, Bo. Appreciate your time.
We've talked in the past about what Arkansas was getting with Chad Morris. What would it be like? I just talked about a couple of commitments they've gotten. From 2013 to 2018, the Razorbacks signed a total of 9 top 100 players from Texas. And now they're bringing in, if everything holds to form, at least 6 top 100 players in this one class. It sounds like Chad Morris is having an impact recruiting in Texas for Arkansas.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, and especially when you consider that right now he can't necessarily sell on-field results. He can't sell, hey, come and play for a conference championship contender. That's not, what Arkansas was this year. But instead, he is selling that kind of hope and saying, hey, listen, we are building something. And obviously people are listening. And, that's one thing that I know I've mentioned to you before is that because he is a former high school football coach and because, his contemporaries are essentially Texas high school football coaches, he knows how to talk to Texas high school football athletes and what he wants to hear, what they want to hear. And obviously they're listening. He's singing the right song right now for a lot of recruits because, how many times have we seen, teams that struggle through a first year and then suddenly their recruiting plummets. That has not happened here. If anything, the recruiting has taken a big leap. And when you kind of pair that with a 2-10 season, it's absolutely remarkable. And I think it speaks to, the job that Chad Morris has done pounding the pavement out there, especially out there in East Texas, I-35 and East. He's done a fantastic job, and it's starting to pay dividends in what looks like a really, really good recruiting class.
What is the key to recruiting Texas? There's so many D1 players. There's so many SEC caliber or Power 5 conference players that are out there, and you're not going to get, certain guys. They're going to want to go to A&M or to Texas or maybe even Oklahoma or some other schools. But there are some guys that you're going to have a shot at. So how do you figure out who those guys are that can still make a difference in your program in such a big state?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, the biggest problem or, the biggest challenge, rather, to recruiting Texas is just sifting through the sheer numbers of players that there are. There are 1,225 public high schools in the state of Texas. There are more than 1,400 high school football teams, if you include private schools, in the state of Texas. And you've got to find those players. And the way that you do that, honestly, is just by having those kind of relationships around the state. It's knowing the coaches and having coaches who are going to shoot you straight and say, listen, this kid is a playmaker, and I think he would fit well in your system. Sometimes, or maybe on the other side, and say, listen, this guy's a great player, but I don't think he's got the grades, or I don't think that he's got the character, I don't think he's got the makeup, or I don't think he's a good fit for your system. And that's one of the advantages that Chad Morris has, is that he does have that kind of relationship where when he calls a coach and he says, hey, tell me about your receiver, Joe Johnson. Then then that coach is going to tell him the truth and tell him, yeah, you know what, this guy, I think that, I know what style of football you like to play because you're a contemporary of mine. And I can tell you whether or not I think he would be a good fit for you. And so I think identification is the first and foremost thing you have to do. And also, I think that there's a lot of people who come into Texas and they go big game hunting. They go for those really, really, really top tier guys. Those guys at the very top, the 5 stars. But in the end, a lot of those guys are going to end up belonging, no matter what, as hard as you try, to Oklahoma or to Texas or to Texas A&M or to a handful of other blue blood schools from out of the state, like Ohio State is getting arguably the number 1 player in the state this year. What Chad Morris has done, I think, in a very savvy move, is he has focused on kind of that next level, those 4-star guys, those high 3-star guys, and said, listen, we can get you guys. We can get them. They are interested in playing big-time SEC college football. If we focus our energy on these guys, then we can nab a number of them. And then suddenly when you get a fair number of those guys, maybe they're not top 10, but they're top 100, then you start to make an impact. And so I think Chad Morris has been very savvy in making sure he focuses his energies on the right kids as opposed to really going out there and just putting all your eggs in finding that in that 5-star basket. I don't think he's done that. I think instead he's gone about it in a very prudent way that says, look, we're probably not going to get this, the number 2 ranked kid, but what if we can get the number 42 ranked kid? Because that would make a big impact on our program.
Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell's Texas football, knows the state, knows Chad Morris, and the other programs that recruit that state. Jimbo Fisher just finished year 1 at A&M. obviously he brings a lot of cachet. How's it going? How's he being perceived in Texas?
You know, he's actually doing a really, really impressive job. Now, part of that is that, you know, he's got something that nobody else in the state has, which is he's got the ability to walk in and say, I have a national championship ring. Why don't you come win another one with me? You know, it also helps that I think that Texas A&M has played a number of high-profile games and performed pretty well in them. You know, you go back to the opening week, you know, in the opening weeks, yes, they lost to Clemson, but they gave them everything that they wanted. And then, of course, that crazy 7 overtime game against LSU. I think that there's a sense that things are shifting there in College Station. And right now, I mean, look, A&M, it's going to be a real fight to the finish as far as A&M and Texas are concerned, as far as who's going to have the top recruiting class in the state. But right now, A&M has the inside track, and they are really cleaning up out there on the recruiting trail. They have probably the number one the number one offensive lineman in the state in Kenyon Green going there out of the Houston area. They have arguably the number one defensive lineman in the state in DeMarvin Leal out of the San Antonio area going there. Whatever, you know, the song that Jimbo Fisher is singing is a sweet one to recruits right now, and they are certainly listening and they're paying attention. And beyond that, you know, it's getting on that feeling that College Station is becoming a cool place to play football. And I think that that's something that's very underrated. People say, people want to win, yes, but I think prospects also want to go in there and feel that swagger. And I feel like there's a swagger now around College Station that, 8-4 is awfully reminiscent of some Kevin Sumlin years, but it feels different right now. And I think part of it is because Jimbo Fisher does have that ring on his finger.
One thing that comes to mind is the way Chad Morris wants to play. How the different styles that, you know, Texas and A&M and the others, you know, that come in there and recruit. Does that also mean that Chad Morris isn't necessarily, and you kind of touched on this earlier, recruiting all the same guys? I mean, so you're not necessarily head up on everybody that A&M's recruiting because they're going to play differently.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of ways, if you look at the way that Arkansas plays football right now under Chad Morris, and Chad Morris coaches football, I mean, his scheme is in a lot of ways the scheme that is most prevalent throughout the state of Texas. It's a lot of the wide open spread, and if you look around the state, well, what does the state of Texas put out more than any other state? They put out receivers, and they put out quarterbacks. Those are the two things they put out. I mean, just look at the last two Heisman Trophy winners. They played at Texas high schools. And they run that kind of spread offense. It's a lot more like reminiscent of what Chad Morris runs, as opposed to, Jimbo Fisher does spread it out a little bit, but it's a little bit more of that power spread. This is a little bit, this is, I think, an advantage for them, a schematic advantage. They can say, look, this is a good fit for you. Remember, you've been playing this style of football throughout your high school career. And that's something that I think is starting to resonate with recruits. I think that there was maybe a little bit of tepidness of wondering, okay, what is this offense going to look like? Maybe recruits didn't necessarily pay a ton of attention to SMU football, whenever Chad Morris was there. But when you're playing SEC football, you're on TV and you're getting noticed. And I think people are seeing the style of offense that Chad Morris is running. And beyond that, with all due respect to the current roster, I wonder if recruits are looking around and saying, yeah, I can come out here and I can play pretty soon. I can get on the field pretty post haste. This is a program that's still kind of getting its feet underneath us, and you hear Chad Morris, say that every job is up for grabs. The best player is going to win the job. Well, there's a lot of swagger in this state from people who say, well, I can win that job, and I feel like that's something that resonates with recruits as well. So in my mind, that's a schematic advantage for Arkansas, that running the style of offense that is pretty prevalent in the state of Texas should help him on the recruiting trail, and I think it already is paying a little bit of dividends.
Chad Morris, 6 top 100 commitments right now out of the state of Texas, which is almost as many as they've had in the last 6 years combined. Greg Tepper's with us, Dave Campbell's Texas football. A couple of quarterback questions quickly. One, Shane Buechele at Texas, possibly transferring. What do you know about that? And do you think Ben Hicks, who is definitely transferring as a graduate transfer from SMU, is in the mix, maybe considering Arkansas?
I'll take the first question first. Shane Buechele is a guy who obviously got beat out for the job by Sam Ehlinger, and Buechele is the son of former Texas Rangers third baseman Steve Buechele, and he comes with good pedigree. That maybe he wasn't just. I think he just flat out got beat out by Sam Ehlinger. I would expect. It would not surprise me in the least, especially Texas has another stud quarterback coming in out of the kind of the greater Beaumont area, and Rashawn Johnson. It would not surprise me in the least to see Shane Buechele on the waiver wire, so to speak. And on the other side, look, Ben Hicks was the guy that kind of handpicked a guy at SMU by Chad Morris coming out of the Waco area to be his quarterback. Ben Hicks has had a really up and down career. He's the all-time leading passer in SMU history, but he can be a bit careless with the ball. But he's obviously got a terrific relationship with Chad Morris. It would not surprise me at all if you were to see Chad Morris and Ben Hicks hook up once again in a graduate transfer situation.
Greg, great stuff. Thanks for making time for us. Really appreciate it as always.
Absolutely. Take care.
All gas, join us on the First Security Bank hotline. Greg Temper, Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine with a look inside the football situation, both with Arkansas and beyond, and recruiting in the state of Texas.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Fleet Center of Arkansas is hosting a toy drive benefiting Arkansas Children's Northwest now through December 16th. Bring in one toy valued at $25 and receive $500 off your down payment. Bring in two toys, receive $1,000 off. Fleet Center of Arkansas has huge savings on the highest quality vehicles of your choice and offers a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Stop by Fleet Center of Arkansas in Rogers off Hudson Road. Drop off a toy and find the right vehicle for the job.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
All right, first off, let's give Western Kentucky a lot of credit. I thought they came in with the right mindset, and in the end, they wanted it more than we did. I thought we looked sluggish on defense in terms of getting to spots, and then it came down to making plays, making free throws, and you go back, the course of a game, free throws kind of add up, and they made theirs, especially the big guy who's making free throws going down the stretch, and they made some clutch plays. And but like I said, talent-wise, a very talented basketball team, and this is another learning curve for our young basketball team. How do you handle the success? And you got to have the understanding. You got to come out and you got to defend. And I didn't think we defended the way we're capable of defending. But let's give credit to Western Kentucky as well.
Mike, what was the plan coming out of the timeout with 19 seconds left? They'd taken the lead, and then what were you guys looking for?
Obviously, we wanted to get the floor spread and get it inside, attack, get a foul, or let's get the ball into Dan. And if they collapse, which they were doing, let's get it to the shooters. We had a little more success than when we opened up the floor and we were in attack mode. They made a good play. The clock went down, and they made a good play. Big fella blocked the shot. But we were trying to get the ball in Dan, trying to get to the free throw line. I think that was what we were trying to do, and try to find Isaiah spotting up or Mason spotting up. So we had the floor spread. Oh, you talking about the one Isaiah? You talking about the one he shot? Well, the guy made a play. I thought if he went maybe one more step, he had Adriel wide open. So, but hindsight's 20/20. That's the learning curve. You got to learn how to make plays and make the right play. But the play before that, you go down.
When did you know you were going to get fired? Probably the first day I took the job.
They've won the championship of life.
You're not giving any kind of effort, and things we think is ridiculous, you wear orange.
I don't get the head comb.
The cut of the day.
The ball came through the basket. It was at 0. Game's over. Woo! Dogs win.
Presented by Bud Anderson Home Services. One call does it all. 855-GO-CALL-BUD.
Do you know what you don't know?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
NBC TV, Indianapolis. Right?
For the Grinch story?
No.
Oh, for Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah. That was...
I actually don't know where this video came from. It was on Twitter.
Are we on the air right now?
We are on the air.
Okay. We don't know where this story came from. We stole it. Kawhi Leonard Q&A with a reporter about Christmas right before the game. It did not go like the reporter hoped.
So, Merry Christmas. Can you talk about your favorite Christmas moment?
Not right now.
Not right now. So, Merry Christmas. Can you talk about your favorite Christmas moment?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Who is that? What is this? What am I playing here? This is bizarre.
It's very bizarre. Let me see if I can find some more information.
Is that yeah? That's the idea, to be able to tell people what we're listening to. That's Kawhi Leonard talking to somebody, an unidentified person, who's trying to get them, Kawhi Leonard, to tell a Christmas story, and it's clearly not the right time to be asking the question in Kawhi Leonard's mind.
No.
And that's all we know.
That's all.
It's the cut of the day, brought to you by Bud Anderson. In the cold of winter, an ununited heat system, an untuned, I'm sorry. Merry Christmas. An untuned heating system can suddenly wreak havoc on the holidays and turn your home into an uncomfortable place. You'll be freezing, it'll be cold, and you'll not know what to do. Well, that's why you got to get proactive and get the $79 special. It's a tune-up. You'll also receive $50 off repairs if you need them. 855-GO-CALL-BUD or GoCallBud.com.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportandstory.com.
Lindsay Golf Courses range from 27-hole championship to 9-hole par 3s and are making a presence in affordable country club memberships for both individuals and families. Our challenging courses and extensive amenities are designed to attract golfers of all ability levels and offer recreational and social opportunities for members. Lindsay 18-hole championship golf courses can be found in Northwest Arkansas, Paradise Valley and Athletic Club in Fayetteville, and in Rogers at Lost Springs Golf and Athletic Club. Or you can visit lindsaymanagement.com for a complete list of Lindsay golf courses.
What's your more? Maybe it's a bigger garage for that 67 Fastback of your dreams. And your own racetrack for you and your buddies. Whatever you'd like more of, Powerball from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $220 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSBank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
But the play before that, you go down and all we got to do is defend. I don't know how, but we had a guy that fall, I don't know how, and they left the big guy wide open. Somebody came over to help, and now that Nelson gets a wide open layup. So that's a breakdown in your defense.
Western Kentucky controlled tempo both halves pretty much.
I thought for the most part they did. We had some spurts there in the second half, even when we got down. I thought early in the game we made some shots early on. The motion to come and playing home was there, but I thought they did a good job of controlling tempo. And then when you don't make shots, obviously it's going to rely a lot on your defense. And like I said, I just thought we were a little sluggish, and I don't know if the Colorado State hangover coming from there. We shot the ball well and played well, and then it's a quick turnaround. But at the end of the day, they made more plays than we did. They had one more play that they made that we didn't.
Other than Sills, did you feel the bench just wasn't up to what it's been?
They've been playing better. They've been much better. Though they didn't play well. And as I said, that's a big component of our basketball team. Is our bench guys coming in and bringing energy and bringing that defensive mindset. And so we didn't do that tonight. And so it's a learning curve that every game we play is going to be a big game. And teams going to come, whether we play at home or on the road, they're going to come and leave it out on the floor. And you'll want to, it's got to be much bigger and better than theirs, and I thought they won a little bit more than we did.
How'd you feel Sills did as far as the second half?
Dez did well. I thought Dez was he did what he does. I thought he.
Your all's perspective.
I was just trying to stay alert. You know, I had a chance to grab it, misjudged it, mistimed it. You know, I couldn't get a hand on it.
And you guys obviously got off to a good start, but they made a good run there in the second half to get the lead. What was happening? Maybe for both y'all, what was happening when I think they had a 9-0 run to get the lead?
You know, we wasn't connected like how we were initially. Like when they had their run, we wasn't connected defensively. You know, it was kind of breaking us down. But throughout the game, we had our spots when we locked in, and so they just had that little run. You know, we couldn't recover from it.
And they had a better game than us on offensively and defense. We didn't come out mentally prepared, so next time we will.
How tough was Bassey inside?
It ain't nothing. It wasn't. Me, Dan is. Me personally, that's my personal. I feel like Dan is. Way more physical than he was. But he's a good player, a great player. He's has a bright future. He has a good future ahead of him. So yeah.
Okay. They hit a lot of threes. I guess especially Hollingsworth and Savage. Just how tough were they on the threes today?
We knew from the game plan. We knew that they were gonna, shoot it, from deep. Just get their shots on. We just wasn't connected how we were. But we do everything that we didn't do is fixable.
I know you're going to dig this.
Nutt gives up the play calling duties at Arkansas and gives them the Malzahn. And Spurrier says to this former Arkansas assistant who's now on his staff, I see Houston's going to be up in the stands this year. Give up, not going to be ball calling, play.
This
It's all dope here.
is
Answer me now.
No Way Sports Talk.
We need to hire a batter coach up there.
Wow. From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios. Best prices on commercial trucks.
I'm speaking facts.
How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
It's Mike Irwin right over there. Mike Irwin, Razorback, Pig Trail Nation. Used to be Razorback Nation. Somebody came down there and told them they couldn't do it unless they wanted to pay him a bunch of money, I think. So they just said, we'll change the name.
That was Jeffy Boy and the people that...
Jeffy Boy. Gosh, the lack of respect for all of Jeff Long and what he did for the University of Arkansas. Just all down the toilet. Now they're in a good thing
he came
to
in
be
right,
said about him.
Right before he had the big meeting where he was like, you got to pay more money. He came in, he was real nice to me. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, good guy. I'm like, okay, I'm a good guy. There are people that don't think I'm a good guy.
Well, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. I mean, let's get into that. No, let's not.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't mind.
What's it going to take to make Razorback fans happy, Mike?
Oh, winning games. I mean, they freak out if you lose a basketball game.
I know, but is there anything other than winning? I mean, everybody knows that winning just takes care of everything. But like 75% of college football is not winning at a clip, or things are not heading in a positive direction enough for people to feel like that they're happy. So it's are fans happy or unhappy right now with Chad Morris, even though he's 2-10?
I still think that mostly internet crowd is either on the fence or unhappy, but they're a different bunch.
Is mostly internet crowd a bunch of negative jackwagons?
Well, I think they are more willing to express their feelings negatively than the average person. I read a thing yesterday. I was flipping, going through Twitter on my cell phone, and there's all kinds of cool stuff that pops up. And it was a guy that was basically saying he'd done some study or something. And he said that what makes Twitter and other forms of social media so attractive to these people is they can attack somebody without getting the crap knocked out of them. In other words, if you went up to somebody in real life and did this stuff, or even said it, you know, like in my hometown where I grew up, if you said something really bad about somebody, it would take about 10 minutes for them to find out.
It's true.
And then you likely would get punched in the nose.
What's going to be interesting is when we move into this technology situation that we're rapidly approaching where we don't talk to each other. So I'm next to you. Like it already happens. Like Bart is 25 steps from my desk to his desk. But as I'm working at my computer and I'm ripping through notes and a question comes to mind or whatever, it's really easy on my laptop to text Bart right in the middle of it all, rather than stand up, walk 25 steps, interrupt whatever he's doing. So we already are communicating 25 steps apart online. And so there's going to become a time where I have my phone and you have your phone and Sawyer has his phones and we're standing there at a party or a gathering and whatever, and we're all communicating in this way.
Especially
and what's going to be interesting, Mike, is when you post something on social media, it's going to be instant to everybody there in the room, and the guy that you just offended who's 10 steps away is going to come over, and now it's no longer keyboard gangster. It's back to being in person.
Yeah, and that would
I can't wait.
If
this is where
it's going to be awesome. It's going to go full circle.
Isn't it?
If we reach that point, it will be like Back to the Future for me. It will be like going back.
People just walk up to somebody and go, "Wow!" It will be like, "What was that for?" I saw what you put on Twitter 10 seconds ago.
It'd be like being at Morton Elementary in 1955 when some kid says something, and the next thing you know, pow!
All right, let me take a call. Ben in Fayetteville on the T-Mobile listener line. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Bo. How you doing this afternoon?
Great, man. Hope you are.
I'm doing amazing. I'm retired, man. I love it.
That's fantastic.
Question for you.
Yes.
So I'm seeing this rumors on the tweeters, as you call it. Ben Hicks from SMU.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be disappointed, surprised, excited? I mean, it looks like the used car with 200,000 miles on it and a bad set of tires that's coming into town.
Well, Ben Hicks, to answer, let me jump in. Let me answer your question. So when Ben Hicks was with Chad Morris and Trey Quinn and Cortland Sutton, the receivers they had recruited there, he had his best year in 2017. He threw for 3,569 yards, had 33 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
How many wins?
7.
7 wins in a bad conference. Okay, all right, I got you.
Well, I think the key here is I don't know what Ben Hicks is or isn't, but I think that Arkansas is looking to have a serviceable quarterback, and right now they don't have one. And if you ask me what's the most position, if you had to pick one position, we can talk about all of the positions. You can talk about receiver, how important it is, offensive line. There's a lot of things you can talk about. But if you told me Arkansas can only significantly upgrade at one position, I would pick on their behalf quarterback, because I feel like even with the players they had this year, they could have been close to getting bowl eligible. It would have been a conversation as we moved into the latter part of the season. I think they beat Ole Miss. I think they win all their non-conference games. And now you're looking at 5 wins, just with a quarterback.
Yeah, I got you.
Just with a quarterback, consistent quarterback. So, is Ben Hicks awesome? I don't think so. Is he good enough to execute Chad Morris' system? He already knows it. And if he can do what they need him to do, that can change a lot of things.
All right, I appreciate it, Bo. You take care. Have a good afternoon, man. That was informative.
Ben. Appreciate it. All right, man. Yeah, and I don't know how good Ben Hicks is. Like, you put him in, Chad Morris will have a great feel for that.
Well, Bo, when Chad Morris was getting hired, even before he was hired, and after he was hired, immediately afterward, I did a series of stories on him, his offense, what he does, and I've tracked down off YouTube virtually every game from the 2017 season. I have seen this kid a lot on video. You can say what you want about he was only at SMU. He's good. He's got an arm. He can throw the deep ball. And that is the biggest single issue with Arkansas's quarterbacks. They don't have anybody that can make an opposing defense respect them deep, and he can do it. And with the incoming guys they've got, the wide receivers coming in, I believe, and we don't know if he's coming. He's not made any statements to that effect. He even said at one point in the thing I was reading that he doesn't even know if he's playing football. So, but if he does come, I think it's an upgrade. And the tip-off on that will be if Morris offers him, because if he does, it's because he believes he can start. He wouldn't do it for any other reason.
I don't have Trey Quinn and Cortland Sutton's number. Aren't they both in the NFL? I know Cortland Sutton is. Aren't they both in the NFL? I want to say Trey Quinn's actually playing pretty well in the NFL too. I know an SMU receiver beyond Cortland Sutton is. I'm pretty sure it's him. But
yeah, he plays for the Redskins.
Okay, so and I think he's pretty, like he's not just, you know, standing on the sideline. I think the guy's actually contributing. So my point is, you get to Ben's question. Well, this is a guy that's playing quarterback at a school like SMU in a bad conference and only won 7 games. Well, that's not the whole story. I mean, you think Cortland Sutton is not a good player? I mean, he was a pretty significant draft pick coming out of SMU, and Trey Quinn, 2 guys that they went out and got to go to SMU, and then obviously evaluated them and developed them well. So all 3 of those guys, if you were able to wind the clock back, coming from SMU, a team that only won 7 games, would have a huge impact potentially at Arkansas.
Their problem, Bo, and again, I looked at tons of video from their 2017 season. Their problem was not offense. They didn't have a defense, and that's why they lost games. They lost a lot of games, a lot of high-scoring games, but this kid can play. He can run the ball too. He looks on tape better than anybody Arkansas has right now. In fact, I don't even think it's close.
On Cortland Sutton, he was a second-round draft pick, by the way.
40th pick overall.
So just to give you an idea, 877-447-4040 is the T-Mobile listener line. Mike Irwin's in studio. Mike, do you like the big clock there?
Yeah, it looks official, but also kind of looks doomsday-like.
Well, do you notice anything missing about the clock? And some people always find the thing that's missing. They don't tell you what's good. They don't tell you that Jim Harbaugh is winning at a clip that you got to go back to the late 90s for anybody to even match. They don't tell you that Mike Anderson is delivering things that haven't been delivered here in years. They just tell you that Jim Harbaugh hasn't won a Big Ten championship and that Mike Anderson hasn't been to the Sweet 16. They don't tell you what they're doing good. Do you know what's missing? That's who I am. You know what's missing from that clock?
Well, the only thing I can think of is it doesn't break down the seconds.
That's correct.
You know
Mike.
why? It's just that obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just that obvious.
Because in this business, you're looking at every second.
It's just that obvious. And this guy, Sawyer, I mean, for all the good, for all the 10-win seasons, for all the wins, he can't beat Ohio State.
I think I know why, because he likes the surprise element. You're just sitting here and all of a sudden 312 becomes 313, just boink, out of nowhere.
You don't know if it's 60 clicks from now or if it's 2 clicks from now.
It's about to change.
It's the big surprise.
You have no idea. None.
Just get a big surprise.
And I said, well, Sawyer, why didn't you get and this is what I love about him. This is the 10-win part. I said, why didn't you get one with the seconds? And he said, those are a lot more expensive.
They are.
Well, he's looking out for
Mike
your
knows
money.
the clocks.
Trying to save you some money, as opposed to Bart, who just wants to spend a lot of money gambling.
Of course, there's a gambling shot in there.
Here's a great question. Who do you think, and I would like to open this up to the listeners, actually. Who do you think is a better influence on the other guy? Is Sawyer a better influence on Bart? Or is Bart a better influence on
No, there's
Sawyer?
no question about that. Sawyer's a better influence.
You think
on
Sawyer's
Bart.
a better influence on Bart?
Yeah, because
like these 2 guys.
Bart has this evil look. Like he's over there and he doesn't say a lot. And I'm looking at him trying to figure out what he's doing. And I'm thinking he's up to no good because he smiles a lot, but he doesn't say things. And when somebody's like not talking, but then they smile and then they don't smile and then they smile, you think something went across his brainwaves at that moment. but it's probably really, really devious.
Or you could have just thought of something really funny. I don't know. There could be 900 different explanations.
Bart's very defensive
There's
about
gotta
whether
be
or
a
not
reason why Bart makes so many people
a good influence.
Bart is a good influence. I can answer the question. Bart's probably more of an influence on me than I've been on him. He's my elder. And
I would restate that.
See y'all later.
Holy moly.
I'm out of here.
I was thinking positive influence, but if you're just talking influence.
That's what I am talking about. Just keep on walking, Bart.
Bart's
you didn't want to leave Sassy's at lunch.
I'm pretty
anyhow.
sure that Bart
wanted to go right to the bar and have a blue moon instead of coming back to work.
I'm pretty sure that Bart got.
Just go on. Just call me after everyone you have.
Because I didn't remember at first him looking at all this stuff where he's checking out odds and all this stuff in Vegas. And then all of a sudden, he's over there and he's acting like he's doing stuff with the audio.
Look at his vacated desk.
But he's actually looking up odds.
You think I'm
Las
looking
Vegas
up
odds
over
at times,
here?
yeah.
No.
Because you know at any given time what the odds are.
Wait till live racing starts at Oakland.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's just crazy. The gambling's out of control.
Well, that's when they start whispering during breaks. They get up and they're talking over by the door.
Betting, it's race 2 of a Monday. And when they have it on Monday, and then it's a Thursday, race 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just like, where's he at? Where is he? Where is this guy?
Is there such a thing as a daily triple? There's a daily double. Is there?
I don't know.
Daily triple.
Well, I think Bart is actually trying. He's trying for that. We're brought to you in part by Premier Dermatology. Bart has left. We'll keep you updated. All things skin for all of Arkansas. General, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology, plus a full-service medical spa. Skin experts to care for your skin and pamper it too. A medical team that treats all conditions of the skin, from acne and eczema to psoriasis and skin cancer. Premier Dermatology offering the latest in cosmetic treatments for improving fine lines and wrinkles, skin tone, texture, even unwanted body fat. Look your best, feel your best. Premier Dermatology, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Bella Vista, and online at premierderm.net.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Hey there, this is Travis Tollett from Williams Tractor in Fayetteville, Williams Tractor in Berryville, and Bobcat in Northwest Arkansas and Rogers. We wanted to show our appreciation by inviting you to our year-end celebration. The end of 2018 is a perfect opportunity to save big. Get 0% financing or choose cash back on current year Boomer and Workmaster compact and utility tractors. Hurry into Williams Tractor in Fayetteville, Williams Tractor in Berryville, and Bobcat in Northwest Arkansas and Rogers now, because the New Holland year-end celebration ends December 31st. And on behalf of all of Williams Tractor, I'd like to wish you a happy holiday season.
Are you in the market for a new pool or spa? Seaside Pools and Spas has been constructing quality pools in the four-state area since 1967. It's your one-stop shop for chemicals, equipment, spas, and in-ground pools. With a service department like no other, Seaside Pools and Spas can also help you with all your pool or spa repair needs. Visit Seaside Pools and Spas today in Springdale, Bentonville, and Joplin, Missouri. Seaside Pools and Spas.
What's your more? Maybe it's a bigger garage for that 67 fastback of your dreams. And your own racetrack for you and your buddies. Whatever you'd like more of, Powerball from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $220 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Ahead to Gafford. How about a windmill? Let's put a little exclamation point on it.
Hog fans, it's officially time for Razorback basketball inside Bud Walton Arena. After 3 NCAA tournament appearances in the last 4 years, Mike Anderson and the Hogs are ready to make another postseason run. Arkansas will host Georgia Tech on Wednesday, December 19th at 8 p.m. You can purchase your tickets today by going to ArkansasRazorbacks.com or over the phone at 1-800-982-HOGS.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Are you surprised that Chad Morris is having a lot of success? Really almost record-breaking success. We'll see how he signs the class when it's all done, not only this early signing period, but in February. But from a commitment standpoint, I mean, he is borderline setting a record at Arkansas since we've been keeping track of recruiting rankings. Is that surprising?
feel like he had to. You know, it was one of those things like, I mean, they were, and when we talked to him, we did the Arkansas-Alabama game, and I love Chad. And I've known Chad for a really long time, and I think the world of him. I really do. I'm just so excited to see what he does with the program. He felt pretty good about some of the in-state talent at that time. He felt very good about their ability to attract quarterbacks and find some guys that are diamonds in the rough. Like Chad said, that the big reason why they were successful at SMU and anywhere else they've been before is that they really just trust the way his coaches evaluate talent. And I think they got ahead of the curve on a couple kids. And now those kids have kind of blown up. And since they were the first ones there, as a result, those kids are staying true to and being loyal to some of the guys that are on that Arkansas staff. So I think that's part of it, but I'm not shocked because right now you can sell optimism, you can sell hope, and you can absolutely sell early playing time. So those are three things that recruits kind of gravitate towards. Early playing time, probably more than anything else, considering they're undergoing a huge shift in philosophy. So basically everyone that goes in has a chance to potentially play as a freshman. That, coupled with the fact that, man, hey, we want you to help build something, like that intrigues me as a player. I remember when I was coming out of high school, man, I just wanted to help build something. I wanted to leave the program in better shape than when we inherited it. That was a big, big draw for me. So that kind of led me to Alabama in the mid-2000s, long before we kind of had gotten over the hump. So it's an exciting time, I think, for the fan base. And obviously, you can recruit well, and you have a chance, and you just got to develop and make sure that you recruit the right guys.
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Got something to say? Join the show by calling the T-Mobile listener line at 877-447-4040. Join America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile. Here is Bo Mattingly.
It's Mike Irwin. I'm Bob Mattingly. Sometimes I like to add a B. Just be somebody different for a little while. Jackie and Crossett.
Hey, I got a question for you. Something that I've been trying to remember. Who was the quarterback, the dual-threat quarterback from Arkansas that Brett Bielema tried to recruit? I think it was his last year. Do you remember who it was? He was from a smaller school.
He didn't get him?
No, he went somewhere else. I can't remember where he went. He was
a grad transfer?
No, I wish I could remember what town he was
from. What's the reason for asking?
Well, I was just thinking he would be the perfect fit now to run the offense that Chad Morris is trying to run, I think,
Well, people think that about Dalton Hyatt, but it hadn't really worked either, mobile quarterback.
Yeah. Do you remember what do you remember what his name was?
I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about.
I remember reading about him the other day, but I've forgotten who he is.
You think Connor Nolan's a great fit, but he's not ready apparently yet. Maybe he will be by the time they get to fall camp.
I got one other comment. You kept asking about what would make you happy.
That's right.
What would make me happy for the football team is to be competitive, but to also have players that you could be proud that they're Arkansas players, high character players.
Okay.
You played that thing about the Temple guy where he said his players, were going to be the greatest thing to come through Shreveport. Well, I look back at ours when they went to the Belt Bowl, and they give them so much money to spend, and that wasn't enough.
For one of them. That was just one of them, though.
That's right. Yeah. And that, to me, that was the most embarrassing thing for being a Razorback fan. And I'd like to see them get players like the baseball team has. People with high character, but that can still play. And that would make me happy.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jackie. So, quick poll. Do you share Jackie's hope for character players? Or is that somewhere down the list, given a 2-10 season?
Again, I think it's less important to internet people, more important to average guys on the street. I have people tell me this all the time, that they care about the character of the guys that are coming in. They don't want somebody that's just good and a jerk, somebody that would, do negative things, bring negative attention.
You want to feel good about rooting for people.
They like good guys, and they like to believe, Razorback fans like to believe that Arkansas doesn't cheat. It's an honorable, honest setup.
Well, clearly they haven't cheated enough.
Well, that's right. I can't say that it's never happened, but I'm not aware of it. And if it did happen, somebody was really bad at it.
Can you imagine, over the last couple of years, if the NCAA got tipped off to Arkansas cheating, you think they would just say, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you for the call.
Didn't work.
I appreciate that.
They cheated and won 2 games.
We're going to look into that. Thank you. And they hang up the phone and they go, get Ole Miss back on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to win some games and
exactly
gain some sort of competitive advantage by cheating.
Did you say, excuse me, sir, did you say Arkansas was cheating? Bless their heart.
They need to be better.
You imagine that phone call? Man. We're coming to you from the Fleet Center Studios. Fleet Center of Arkansas is your place to get a vehicle, and here's what they're doing right now. Drop by a toy. They're doing a toy drive for the Arkansas Children's Hospital, and they're going to give you a deal for doing that. But even if you're not looking for a vehicle, just drop by a toy. But right now, through December 16th, Fleet Center is hosting a toy drive benefiting Arkansas Children's Hospital. Bring a toy in at a value of $25, and you'll receive $500 towards a down payment. You bring in 2 toys, you get $1,000 towards a down payment. That's if you're buying a vehicle. If you're not buying a truck, then just bring the toys by at any value. They'd be happy to have anything to drop off at the Arkansas Children's Hospital. And Fleet Center of Arkansas is located in Rogers off Hudson Road. Find the right pre-owned vehicle for the job that you need by browsing their inventory online at fleetcenterllc.com or just stop by Fleet Center of Arkansas on Hudson Road in Rogers. Jerry Bohannon, I always got confused. Gary or Jerry?
Yeah,
went to Baylor.
Right, went to Baylor.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he said toward the end of the Bielema era, and I couldn't find anybody, and then I was like, well, what about Bohannon last year?
Did he play last year? Did he get any reps?
He carried the ball twice for 5 yards, and those were his stats on the season.
Alan in Springdale on the T-Mobile listener line.
Hey guys, just a quick thought here, and then I'll hang up and listen to your comments. What do you think the current Arkansas quarterbacks are thinking about all this talk? I mean, it's almost to the point where that if there was talk of a quarterback transfer from Toledo Community College, everybody would be up in arms and say, "Oh, we've got to get this guy." I mean, our guys are no good. They
went 2-10. They know that. They went 2-10.
But is it all the fault of the quarterback?
Mostly.
You really believe
100%.
that? You don't think the offensive line has anything to do with it?
I think
the defense has anything to do with it?
No, that wasn't the question. It's who mostly. The quarterback always has mostly, good or bad. Period. Well, that's the one position in football that gets more than any other, and especially in an offense like Chad Morris runs. It doesn't mean the other stuff's not important. It just means that's the premier position that you have to be good at. You can be good at these other positions, and you're still going to win less than you would if you had a good quarterback.
Okay, so
in his
Alabama,
system.
when Alabama had less than average quarterbacks,
you didn't hear me. In Chad Morris's system, if you're running the football and you want to mow everybody over, and you've got a premier offensive line, then it can make up the difference for what you don't have at quarterback. And you have Heisman Trophy running backs, it can make up the difference for what you don't have at quarterback. But you know what? If Houston Nutt had a really good quarterback to go along with Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis, and Marcus Monk, and all those linemen, you'd probably gotten your national championship.
I could agree with certainly the SEC championship on that. I can. But what are the thoughts going through the heads of the quarterbacks that we have now? What are Connor Nolan and Ty Story thinking?
I think Connor Nolan is fine. He's growing in the system. I think Ty Story's probably wondering what his future is.
Well, would you not be? I mean, even if I'm Connor Nolan,
nobody's going to cry. Nobody's going to cry over there. I don't think if Ty Storey leaves, I don't think he's going to play next year. I think Connor Nolan will be the guy if they don't bring in a guy to beat him out.
Oh, I thought Connor Nolan would be our quarterback by the 8th game this year. That didn't happen. But
by the way, players shouldn't worry about what anybody's saying in the media, in the fan base, anything else. I mean, it should be irrelevant to them.
It really should be, but Bo, if it were you, you would hear it, wouldn't you? You would hear it and you would know it, wouldn't you? I would.
I think that's the difference between guys that are going to be able to be successful and guys who aren't at that level.
I guess I'm total failure then.
I mean, what do you think about Jalen Hurts? What do you think Jalen Hurts must have felt like for the whole year? For ever since that this whole thing started with Tua came in and won the second half of the national championship. And if Jalen Hurts sits around and worries what everybody says about him, he hadn't prepared to go in and win that game. So if you're a player and that's where you are, you probably need to do something else.
Who said anything bad about Jalen Hurts?
Well, everybody. Everybody said that Tua was better and that Jalen Hurts couldn't pass well enough. He wasn't good enough.
Everybody said Tua was better, and everybody said Jalen Hurts was second best quarterback in the SEC.
No, that's not the way it went.
Yes, it is pretty much the way it went.
I'm sorry to tell you that I think you're wrong and misinformed on that.
Well, I think you're wrong. I've heard it many times.
From who?
By the announcers on TV.
Just because somebody throws something out there like he might be that doesn't mean that's what people were saying about Jalen Hurts this whole time. I was in Alabama when Jalen Hurts and Tua were in training camp for 30 days. Everybody calling a radio show basically said that they didn't care if Jalen Hurts was on the team or not. Tua was clearly the guy. Tua's better. He's not good enough. The point is, if you're a player and you're worried about what people are saying about you, you're probably not going to be a player.
Well, anyway, I've enjoyed the little conversation here. Glad to get in on it. And I still think Connor Nolan has a future at Arkansas. I really do. I think there's
Nobody has said anything other than that. Connor Nolan's the guy, I think.
But anyway, I've certainly enjoyed the conversation. Don't know that I got my point across, but I certainly tried to push it.
Well, no, I understand what your point is. Your point is that the Arkansas quarterbacks are hearing that about every transfer or possible grad transfer that comes up. How should that make them feel? Well, hopefully it makes them want to get their rear in gear and do whatever they can to maximize whatever the talent they have is. Right now, Ty Storey's ability doesn't seem to be at a high enough level, and he's on the tail end of his career. Connor Nolan has a higher ceiling, but he's not ready, from what we've seen, to perform at that level. So you bring in competition. That's the job. That's the job. You don't worry about hurting people's feelings. You bring in the best players you can get. How do you think the rest of the team feels about all of the freshman receivers and how they weren't good enough at receiver and how they weren't good enough at offensive line? That's the job. That's what it's about. It's the big leagues.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Are you in the market for a new pool or spa? Seaside Pools and Spas has been constructing quality pools in the four-state area since 1967. It's your one-stop shop for chemicals, equipment, spas, and in-ground pools. With a service department like no other, Seaside Pools and Spas can also help you with all your pool or spa repair needs. Visit Seaside Pools and Spas today in Springdale, Bentonville, and Joplin, Missouri. Seaside Pools and Spas.
Do you enjoy golf? Come live at a Links apartment community and love where you live and play. You get free golf privileges, a resort-style pool, great fitness center, and a whole lot more. Our 9-hole courses offer you challenging and quality golf right outside your front door. All that you need and want, we have. View rates, photos, and apply online today. Or check out a complete list of locations by visiting lindsaymanagement.com. That's lindsaymanagement.com.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Greg McElroy, ESPN, SEC Network, college football analyst with us. Dan Enos will reportedly replace Mike Locksley. This seems to be how Saban is doing things lately. You know, you get the bullpen ready. I mean, and the continuity continues.
He had to have seen this coming, though. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it didn't. Like, maybe I'm giving Saban too much credit. But first of all, Enos isn't taking a job, stepping down as a coordinator and, checking his ego at the door. And then you all just go coach quarterbacks, no problem. Unless he was told something in the interview process, because he was in hot demand. I mean, everyone wanted a piece of Dan Enos. He's really good. And I know it didn't work out real well at Arkansas, but he's really good when it comes to developing players. Like, I happen to think that Nick Saban saw the writing on the wall with Mike Locksley, the way he can recruit, the fact that he could potentially be a head coaching candidate sooner than later. So he had to have his ducks in a row and had to have an heir apparent. And it made a lot of sense because everyone that he's gone with from a coordinator hire, with the exception of Brian Dable, has been a hire from within in the last few years. So, I mean, Sarkisian was a hire from within. They had to completely abandon that ship, though, because they didn't like the direction that Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian were going. So they end up bringing in Dable, and Locksley was an analyst on that staff. He gets promoted. Enos is on the staff. He gets promoted. It feels, and on the defensive side, they've done that even more so. So I think Saban probably saw the writing on the wall and saw the potential in Mike Locksley and felt like he had to back him up with a legit coordinator behind him. So it's a great move for Enos. I'm happy for him because there's one thing we've learned, that if you're the coordinator at Alabama, you're going to be a head coach within 3 years. So I think that's encouraging for the future when it comes to his candidacy in the long term.
That'll be interesting for a guy who walked away from a head coaching job at Central Michigan because it didn't feel like you could win there, taking a coordinator job at Arkansas. Does Dan Enos come all the way back around and end up with a good head coaching job? All right, I'll get you out of here with this.
That's pretty remarkable foresight. That's really what he was thinking down the road. Like, I'm going to walk away. And honestly, you can't make any money at the Group of 5, too. I think that's the struggle, too. So he got an increase in pay to go from head coach to coordinator in the SEC. Like, SEC is, it's a legit league. It's understandable why guys would flock there.
He's in a good spot for sure. How about Malzahn? Now, Gus Malzahn going with a coordinator who's not going to call plays, and he's back to calling plays. And what kind of spot is he in?
I don't know. You tell me this. I like Gus. I've been around Gus quite a bit, and I think he's a really good offensive mind. But I don't know how you can justify hiring a guy as your offensive coordinator that has 1 year of experience. Like, I feel like Gus wants to run his show, and he doesn't want anyone getting in the way of that show. Like, he doesn't want anyone interjecting. It's his way or the highway, and he surrounded himself with a couple of yes men, it feels like. And nothing against Dillingham. I don't know anything about him.
Right.
Like, everyone I've talked to and I've called is like, hey, what do you know about this Dillingham guy? He goes, I don't know him. Never heard of him. So, he might be the second coming, but he's certainly.
Well, he's not calling plays. I mean, they hired him not to call plays. I mean, you got to go down the ladder to hire a coordinator
Burns.
that's not going to call plays.
And Cody Burns is your other coordinator.
Coordinator.
Listed as the passing game coordinator. So, I mean, it just sounds like to me is Gus wants people that are going to, kiss the ring, and no one that's going to really upset the apple cart in that offensive staff room. But.
And now, the Ozark Outpost Casual Clothing and Footwear Hog Update.
Every game's a big game. I thought Western Kentucky was probably one of the more talented teams we played up until this point. And so it was a big game, and obviously we didn't respond how we should, but now they've been in those situations, and that can only benefit us, I think, as we move forward with each and every game, even as we get ready to go down and play in Little Rock and then Georgia Tech and on and on.
Next up for the Hogs, the trip to Little Rock to play UTSA. Tip-off at 7 p.m. on Saturday. They'll finish up the non-conference schedule at home before opening SEC play on the road at Texas A&M. SEC Network's Greg McElroy on the show Tuesday, giving his thoughts on being Arkansas's head football coach.
Since Texas A&M got in the league, the Arkansas job is the toughest in the SEC and among the toughest in the Power 5.
Chad Morris is winning in recruiting. Myron Cunningham committing to Arkansas yesterday out of Iowa Central Community College. The offensive tackle choosing Arkansas over Oklahoma and is expected to come in and make an immediate impact. The early signing period begins December 19th. I'm Melissa Orange for the Big Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. And late breaking this afternoon, Chibuzi Nwana, another JUCO offensive lineman, has committed to Arkansas. So that's 2 in as many days. We're headed back to the T-Mobile listener line momentarily. But the update brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply. First annual All Fridays Matter sale happening this weekend at the Ozark, helping you stretch that Friday paycheck to make Christmas a special time. The sale this weekend is going to smash all the other Friday sales, even the Black Friday sale. Massive savings and big-time giveaways, up to 75% off in the store on both sides, whether it's the supply store or the clothing store side. Ozark Sportsman Supply, the biggest sale of the year. Ozark Outpost, biggest sale of the year. Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. John is in Fayetteville on the T-Mobile listener line. Mike Irwin with us in studio. John, go ahead.
Yes, I saw on Twitter yesterday what Greg McElroy said on the show, and I just heard it, on hold there in commercial. And I just think, I've been here my whole life. I've been a Razorback fan. I just think he's wrong. The hardest to do what? He says Arkansas is the hardest job in the SEC, the hardest job in the Power 5. The hardest to do what? If he's talking about beat Alabama, there's a lot of people that fall in that category. I just think that we've been on a bad run, obviously, since 2012, and I think a lot of people. I'm not giving up on them. Now you could argue maybe hardest to have a top 15 defense in the nation. Yeah, I agree with that. Offensively, though. If you look back even at when Dan Enos was here, we put up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and I think they can get it turned around. I think you got to have, a dual-threat quarterback to do it and keep recruiting, but I don't think Greg's right. I just don't agree with it, and I know that if Coach Broyles was still alive, he would be furious that somebody thinks that and somebody's putting it out there. Of course, everybody has an opinion, but I just don't. Obviously Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida have an advantage over everybody. A&M, we've played them pretty close. That one year they beat us 45-24 or whatever when they sacked out Austin Allen 10 times, but we've lost, 3 games in overtime to them. I just don't think that's right. I think the Mississippi schools, Arkansas is a better program than them. We haven't been lately, but I think we're a better program than them. There's no reason we can't beat Missouri. There's no reason we can't beat Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and South Carolina. That's how I feel, and I just wanted to call in and say it.
So, I understand it. But who has a tough – where is it more difficult to win? Vanderbilt? Kentucky?
I think Vanderbilt for sure. And I think, I guess if you're talking about can you get to 7 wins or 8 wins?
I think the conversation is just like, what's a difficult job? So if you're taking a job as a head coach, and you're going to make $4 million here or you're going to make $4 million there, and both schools or multiple schools want you, which job do you take? It's the same reason Gus Malzahn, for all the people that wanted him to come to Arkansas, was never coming. Because Gus Malzahn wants to win a national championship more than anything in the world. That's the most important thing to him. And he thinks undoubtedly, unquestionably, undeniably that his best chance is to win a national chance at Auburn, not at Arkansas. Because he's 90 minutes from Atlanta, all the recruiting in Georgia, all of the things that make that a job that helps you win a national championship more. So I think that's the conversation. Like, what's the most difficult job? And it came from the Kansas State conversation. That's why it came up this time around. I think there are great things about the Arkansas job, but there are also challenging things about the Arkansas job. And whoever it is that understands how to win at Arkansas is the coach or coaches that are going to have the success here and have it most consistently. And it seems like Chad Morris is one of those guys because he understands you got to recruit Texas, and he understands that you're going to have to be good on offense, because to be good on defense means that you probably have to get consistently the upper end of athletes in the country more often than not. But on offense, schematically, you could score points and you can figure out a way to just be good enough on defense. And so I think he understands those things, which is why from the beginning I thought he was the right guy for the job.
Right. I think he's doing a good job recruiting, obviously, and we got to figure out how to win some of these close games. And there's no excuse. I don't care what anybody says. There's no excuse for Arkansas to lose to Colorado State, to lose to North Texas, and to lose to Ole Miss. And so, I think athletic directors in moving forward in the future, here's what I'd do. I'd say, okay, I'm going to pay you $2 million base, and I'm going to pay you per win. And you don't get a per win bonus until you get to 6. And then you get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that's what they should do.
Some guys can do that. Some schools can't. It depends on because you can do that if you're hiring the Kleiman guy from North Dakota State. You can't do that if you're luring Jimbo Fisher from Florida State to A&M. So it's just Barry Alvarez has had a lot of success with that model. Other people, it's been more difficult for. But if you're like at Kansas State or Kansas or some of these schools where you're not going to get the upper echelon available coaches anyhow, then you can structure a salary that is more like that. But if you want to keep the upper end coaches and the upper end athletic departments, the agents are way past that. They are controlling the game. They have all the power now. I mean, Jimmy Sexton ain't letting one of his clients do that. If a school wants them back, if they're up in the elite market for jobs, you ain't gonna let them do it. Hey, John, thanks for the call. Great conversation.
Just let me add this. I agree with everything he said. And I would say if I watch the SEC Network a lot. If Greg McElroy is on there talking about quarterbacks, I listen to him. When he's talking about something like this, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like a lot of guys that get on TV and they have tunnel vision. They're looking at what's happening right now, this moment. Yes, at this moment, I can see where you'd look at Arkansas and say that's a tough job. But historically, it's not. And there have been coaches that have won here, and there'll be coaches that win here in the future, and the one they've got now – it looks like recruiting is the key to everything. And we talked about this when he got hired. It's going to boil down to his ability to recruit Texas. And he's done that so far, and he's gone above that. He's gone into places like Louisiana. He's gone into Oklahoma. He's taken people away from schools like Oklahoma. He's not just getting a bunch of cast-offs. That's what you have to do. But, this thing comes and goes. At any given time, you could pick a school and say, boy, that's the toughest job in America.
He said it. The last 7 years, Arkansas's been, even if they've beaten Ole Miss a couple times, as a program, they've been behind Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and that wasn't the case prior to that cycle. So now the next cycle with Joe Moorhead as the coach at Mississippi State and Matt Luke at Ole Miss, are they going to have the same success that Freeze and Mullen had? Probably not. Yeah, is Arkansas about to trend back up? Probably so. And the thing that Arkansas has to be is consistently better than those two schools. Then you got to find a way to beat Auburn and A&M every once in a while.
Well, I wouldn't get discouraged if I was a Hog fan by stuff like this. The SEC Network is very negative toward Arkansas right now because they're not winning. Yeah. And you don't have to say nice things about a school that's not doing very well because the perception is, well, their fans aren't watching us anyway. The people that really care about watch this are the ones that are watching the teams that are up there. So I get that. But I
don't know what they're supposed to say about Arkansas.
Well, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. SEC is a snob conference. It's all about what you're doing right now. And the teams that are kind of the also-ran don't get any pub at all. And I don't like that. When Roy Kramer was the commissioner of the SEC, he really pushed the notion that the rising tide lifts all boats. In other words, if our conference is better, every team in the conference gets better. And he was fair. The SEC network, when it first started, there was an attempt to give everybody as much equal time as possible within a certain amount of reason.
I'm not sure that's true anymore.
No, it's not. It started with Sleepy Slive, and it's continued to this day. No, I did not like Sleepy Slive. He's dead now. I don't want to talk really badly about him, but he was full of crap. He came in here when we met him. We met him over at the Broyle Center. He was in Frank's conference room, and first thing he does without us asking anything, he starts pontificating about how they're going to stop cheating in the SEC. Right, you really did that. You sure did. You just really cracked down on a lot of schools that were cheating.
Well, they kept people from getting on probation. I don't know if they stopped them from cheating. They just stopped them from getting caught and being on probation. Because there were a bunch of schools that were when he came in, and then they weren't anymore.
Roy Kramer was a great commissioner. He did a lot of really good stuff for college football and for the SEC. They don't have the same leadership today. Not even close.
We got to hit a break. We're brought to you in part by Williams Tractor. Whether it's new, pre-owned, or you want to rent, they got you covered. Stop by and ask about one of their seasoned professionals. Not just New Holland. They are a New Holland dealer, but they got all the brands you can imagine. Polaris, Bush Hog, Bobcat, just to name a couple, World Lawn. Stop by or visit WilliamsTractor.com or Bobcat of Northwest Arkansas. T-Mobile listener line, 877-447-4040. Mike is ready to roll when we come back.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on SportandStory.com.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSBank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hi, Bo Mattingly here. There's nothing more frustrating than electrical problems. Breakers tripping, lights flickering, or problems with your home's electrical system. And it always seems to happen at the worst possible time. I say call Mr. Sparky, the company to call to get your electricity fixed right and right now. They have an impeccable record for delivering fast electric service, straightforward, upfront pricing, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Your all's perspective.
I was just trying to stay alert. You know, I had a chance to grab it, misjudged it, mistimed it. You know, I couldn't get a hand on it.
And, you guys obviously got off to a good start, but they made a good run there in the second half to get the lead. What was happening, maybe for both y'all, what was happening when I think they had a 9-0 run to get the lead?
We wasn't connected like how we were initially. Like, when they had their run, we wasn't connected defensively. It was kind of, breaking us down. But throughout the game, we had our spots when we locked in, so they just had their little run. We couldn't recover from it.
And they had a better game than us on offensively and defense. We didn't come out mentally prepared, so next time we will.
How tough was Bassie inside?
It ain't nothing. It wasn't. Me, Dan is. Me personally, that's my personal. I feel like Dan is. Way more physical than he was. But he's a good player. A great player, he's has a bright future. He has a good future ahead of him. So yeah.
Okay, they hit a lot of threes. I guess especially Hollingsworth and Savage. Just how tough were they on the threes today?
We knew from the game plan. We knew that they were gonna shoot it from deep. Just get their shots on. We just wasn't connected how we were, but everything that we didn't do is fixable. We're gonna continue to work on that, get better each and every day. So we're gonna let this one hurt to me tonight and get back and get better.
Now, time for the SEC report.
Somebody said we've got SEC bias. Deal with it. They're the best.
Here's Bo Mattingly.
Maybe we should hear more about how Arkansas is continually getting the little brother treatment from the SEC as a conference, as a SEC network. I mean, it does happen. And now you can change that, but it's the chicken egg thing. You got to win. You got to be, undeniable. You got to be somebody they have to deal with. And until you are. Now, look, the conference and the network they do spread it around a little bit, but there are certainly teams that are getting a lot more of the love. Samuel and Driscoll on the T-Mobile listener line. Samuel, go ahead.
Well, my question is, I know we've got one of the highest rated recruiting classes we're going to have in a long time, but one of my questions is, should I be more hopeful in the caliber of players we're getting, or that they fit into Coach Morris's scheme and everything?
I think both. They seem to be getting quality players, and then the latter is also true. They're going to fit better.
I also saw one broadcaster mention that the other teams of the SEC West are ahead of us in recruiting, even at that.
Yeah.
Can we still show improvement with them, keeping up with us, it seems like?
That's a good question, and that's the ongoing question.
8th in the SEC in 24/7 Sports composite rankings.
What about the West? Do we know?
Give me just a second. I'll tell you.
You can manually figure that out. Thanks, Samuel.
Thank you.
Those are great questions.
6th in the West.
Yeah. And look, I mean, Arkansas was competitive.
What about
in some
rivals?
Games. They were competitive in some games this year, even as far off as they've been in recruiting. Adam Rittenberg, ESPN.com, did a story as Bart looks at rivals, gave some grades on coaches in the league, first-year coaches. Chad Morris, a D-, but that's to be expected when you win 2 games. We'll get the answer to that when we come back. 5th in rivals in the West.
4th in the West.
4th in the West.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportandstory.com.
The best burger in the state is now in Fayetteville. That's right. CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers is proud to have our second location right here in Razorback Nation. Located on West Weddington Drive, we're excited to serve fresh, quality burgers, hand-cut fries, shakes and malts for the best pregame or postgame meal to cheer on the Hogs in every season. Make CJ's Butcher Boy Burgers your new Fayetteville food destination. Opening soon on West Weddington Drive in Fayetteville. When all you do are burgers, they have to be the best.
So you hear that the Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots are a chance to win a ridiculous amount of money, and you want to get in on the action. The Quick Pick option makes getting a ticket simple and fast. Just stop by your Arkansas Scholarship Lottery retail store and ask the cashier for a Quick Pick. Your computer-generated numbers are printed out in seconds, so play your lucky numbers or play it quick. Just play. Either way could be your ticket to more. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs, plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Came over for a little bit, just kind of what was going through that and what opened up for you then?
Sitting on the sideline knowing that the starting five was like kind of lacking on energy. My job was coming on the bench to come in to give energy, and that's what I wanted to do.
As far as just free throws, was it just kind of contagious today? Because obviously all, as a team, weren't shooting like you normally do.
There's just a mental thing. Just we're going to come up next time. We're going to get in practice tomorrow, and we're going to take it from there.
Good, AJ.
Guys, there were 2 flagrant fouls called in this game. Did you guys feel like it was getting chippy at any point?
By the fact that, we only had 2 referees, so, they were doing the best they could do. So, by the flagrant calls, I really don't. I'm not a referee. They kind of do their judgments on that. But by having 2 referees, kind of made the game tough throughout the whole game. So.
Hey, Drew, Western Kentucky scores, I think, with 19 seconds left. Timeout. What's the plan coming out of the timeout, and what happened there?
You said when it's Kentucky's ball? Western Kentucky's ball? We was just stay connected defensively. We kind of knew what we was doing offensively, but we wanted to stay connected defensively and get a stop. And the guy Bassie hooked Dan, and Dan tried to tell it and hit the floor, and then I helped him and I left my man open. So they got the layup, and but all that's adjustable, fixable. So we just gonna have to let this one hurt till midnight. Just come back and get better.
But the play before that, you go down and all we got to do is defend. I don't know how, but we had a guy that fall. I don't know how, and he left the big guy wide open, and somebody came over to help. And now that Nelson gets a wide open layup, so that's a breakdown in your defense.
Western Kentucky controlled tempo both halves pretty much.
I thought for the most part they did. We had some spurts there in the second half, even when we got down. I thought early in the game we made some shots early on. The motion to come in playing home was there, but I thought they did. They did a good job of controlling tempo. And then when you don't make shots, obviously it's going to rely a lot on your defense. And like I said, I just thought we were a little sluggish, and I don't know if the Colorado State hangover coming from there. We shot the ball well and played well, and then it's a quick turnaround. But at the end of the day, they made more plays than we did. They had one more play that they made that we didn't.
Sills, did you feel the bench just wasn't up to what it's been?
They've been playing better. They've played much better. Though they didn't play well. And as I said, that's a big component of our basketball team. It is our bench guys coming in and bringing energy and bringing that defensive mindset. And so we didn't do that tonight. And so it's a learning curve that every game we play is going to be a big game. And teams going to come, whether we play at home or on the road, they're going to come and leave it out on the floor. And your want to has got to be much bigger and better than theirs. And I thought they wanted a little bit more than we did.
How'd you feel Sills did?
I know you're gonna dig this.
It's ridiculous how many people have votes. Fanboys, if you will. For instance, Johnny Tuscaloosa, who's on a local radio show, who literally all he does is tweet Auburn jokes all day long, and his Twitter profile says Heisman voter.
This
It's all dope here.
is
Answer me now.
No Way Sports Talk.
We need to hire a batter coach up there.
Wow. From the Fleet Center of Arkansas Studios. Find the right vehicle for the job.
I'm speaking facts.
How about a little decorum in here on a work day?
Here is Bo Mattingly.
All right, so we're into this topic now of whether Arkansas is a really tough job, how tough a job it is. And we heard from John in Fayetteville. We've heard from Mike Irwin on the topic. And here's what Greg McElroy said on the show yesterday. And this has led to all kinds of conversation where Arkansas ranks in recruiting, where they rank in the West. Rivals is they're getting a Christmas card from Arkansas because Arkansas is higher in Rivals than the other services. And they all judge a little bit differently or account for different things. And I'm not sure exactly why Arkansas is ahead in Rivals, but they are. Here's Greg McElroy on the show yesterday about Arkansas and the challenge it is to win here.
Since Texas A&M got in the league, the Arkansas job is the toughest in the SEC and among the toughest in the Power Five. I really believe that because Arkansas used to have a ticket to all the players in the state of Texas, and not even just players, too, like just students Like, students that wanted a Southeastern Conference experience could go from Texas to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to Arkansas and pay in-state tuition and have that SEC experience. Like, all my friends are Arkansas fans, every single one of them. So it's been a challenge since Texas A&M got in the league, because now kids can say, well, I'll just stay in state and I'll have that same experience, and I'll get to play for a state school that I'm proud of, and I'll be able to contend, hopefully, for in the nicest facilities in college football for an SEC championship someday.
Mike?
Well, he's wrong, because Arkansas still gets a huge number of Dallas-Fort Worth area kids coming up here going to school every year. I have a friend who has a grandson who came up here, and he let me know he's coming up this weekend. Can you help him? Because he's thinking about getting in broadcast journalism. Can you show him around a little bit? So I did, but I also called Larry Foley, who's in charge of broadcast journalism over at the U of A, told him about the kid. The family was astounded. They said, this guy's the head of the department. He gave us a personal tour. But I found out later on he does that for everybody. Arkansas caters to kids coming out of Texas. The only thing McElroy's right about is they give them in-state tuition, which is a huge draw. But they're not losing people because of A&M. People are still coming up here.
Well, they might lose some.
They're doing fine. If you looked at all the new dang off-campus dormitories they're building, every time I turn around, there's a 9-story complex somewhere.
Well, they're not dormitories, are they?
No, they're off-campus housing, whatever. Right. It's got to be filled up with students.
Right.
They're not building that stuff. The people that are loaning the money aren't going, well, I don't care about any studies about enrollment or anything. Just here's $34 million to build this 9-story off-campus apartment thing. I mean, the enrollment is way up. Kids are coming up here out of Texas. They like it. I've noticed this ever since I've been here. I lived in a lot of places after I left Texas. And one of the reasons I've stayed is Northwest Arkansas feels more like Texas than any place I've ever lived outside of Texas. I've always said this. There's a difference in being up here and being in Little Rock. That's part of that whole stadium debate. Because when you're in Central Arkansas, you're closer to the old South and the traditional SEC schools. Up here, people identify more with what's going on at OU, what's going on at Oklahoma State, what's going on over there at Tulsa. What about down there at TCU and Fort Worth?
Well, it's a different culture for sure.
Yeah,
the
it's
kind
a
of
wholly
people,
different
a lot of
deal.
people that have moved in to Northwest Arkansas.
And the thing is, it's always been about your ability to recruit. That's all it is. That's why a good coach, Bo, you can go document this throughout the history of why is Kentucky good right now when they haven't been in almost forever? Because they got the right coach. The right guy is going to come in and win. And it's not going to be because some doomsday guy is going, that's the hardest job ever. It's hard if you get the wrong guy. And Arkansas has hired the wrong people. That's just the bottom line. They've had a lot of wrong people in the job.
I didn't think Bielema was the wrong guy. When they hired him, I thought he was the right guy, and I thought that he was on a track that would have been fine. But he just did not execute. You know, people will say, well, you can't play the way that he wanted to play and win here. Well, it's only true if you don't play that way very well. I mean, he started out where they got to a point where they were playing that way pretty well, and then recruiting wise, they didn't keep up with it.
And he lost. And he lost
quit
staffers.
Playing that way.
He lost assistant coaches.
Yeah, well,
the whole
thing. The whole thing. Yeah, exactly.
And he didn't lose Enos because Enos stayed here till the end. But look at Enos. Look at the two guys that were especially Chaney. He used to just get ripped on Hogville every day. And I would get on there and I'd say, look, I've done a lot of research on Jim Chaney.
Wow.
I've called people.
Yeah.
They all say this guy's a really good offensive coordinator.
But I will say this about Chaney. And look, he had good assistants, okay, when he first came here. And it was interesting because one of the things at Wisconsin was he was losing assistants, and he ended up losing assistants here, and he didn't replace all of them with as good a caliber. But Chaney, I don't think, was a great fit at Arkansas at the time because Jim Chaney's a play caller.
That's right.
And he's got to have players to really be able to play call some of the stuff that he really wants to do. And it's a challenge when you don't have that. And I thought he asked Brandon Allen to make a lot of difficult throws. Now, you give him Georgia, you give him good players, you give him Alabama or wherever you want to go, and you give him those good players. And I think he's really good at scheming up a game. And he used to scheme up that first touchdown drive for Arkansas here, even when they weren't very good. But he wasn't a quarterback developer. In fact, right now he's coaching the tight ends at Georgia. And so that was a little bit of a challenge. And I'll say Bielema got the Dan Enos hire right. I think he did. I think he went out and made a good hire there. He did not replace Pittman. He did not do that well.
Well,
and that cost him big time, and Arkansas is still paying for that.
When he started going after guys that were assistants to assistants in the NFL, that's when it went backwards.
There's no denying it. Yes, Bart?
I just wanted to weigh in on the conversation and maybe put some historical perspective to it. So I saw this stat earlier today from Pick Six Previews on Twitter. They listed the top 20 teams in college football in terms of wins over the last 100 years. It's a nice round number, plenty of historical perspective there, right? Arkansas tied for 19th on that list with Miami. But I think Greg McElroy has a little bit of a point because, yes, Arkansas tied for 19th all time among all schools. That's 7th among SEC teams. You want to know where that would rank among the old Southwest Conference teams? 2nd. That's everything right there. It's not just Texas A&M. It's going into the SEC. And going into the SEC made Arkansas a heck of a lot more difficult job than it ever was at any other point in history. From 1992 to today, Arkansas is a way more difficult job than it ever was when Frank Broyles was the coach, when Lou Holtz was the coach, when Ken Hatfield was the coach. And you've got to have a special coach to be able to win and win at a high level consistently at Arkansas in football now, because the level of competition you're facing week after week is so much better than anything you ever faced before in the history of the program. Those are just facts. Like, that's historical fact.
Equal time.
If you have the right guy. If you hire the wrong guy, it looks like a really tough job that nobody would want if they had a brain in their head. But if you get the right guy and he has the right tools, and I'm going to say I can't see into the future, but this guy looks like the right guy because of recruiting. Now, the real issue with Morris is a lot of us aren't sure about his play calling, his decision making. We don't know how much he gets involved in the play calling, but there were a lot of strange things that happened this year. The failure to go for it on 4th down at Colorado State, which a lot of people thought cost him the game. There's some things there, some decision-making things that we're not sure about. But in terms of if you got to come in and you've got this really quirky, strange offense that's pretty much different. I mean, people still get this wrong. They just think it's a spread offense, and it's not just that. So you've got to come in. You've got to virtually every position on that offense, you have a learning curve when you're running that offense. So it's going to take him a while. He's got to get his own people, and then he's got to get them experience in that offense, and then we'll be able to see better. But I still believe there's a right guy at every school. Look at what's going on at Vanderbilt right now. They got the right guy. Now, he's not going to win a national championship, but he's not schmucking around out there, winning 3 games either.
Kentucky.
Same thing at Kentucky. And at various times, people are going to say, oh, you can't win there. You can if you hire the right guy, because the right coach can win anywhere. Mike Leach went into Texas Tech, which had always been kind of bleh, bleh, bleh. They go to a bowl game about every 3 years or 4 games, and he went almost every year. And, of course, they were dumb enough to run him off because he had an AD that was dumb. But he's gone up to Washington State. What? You want to talk about a terrible job? First of all, their stadium stinks. It's one of the worst stadiums.
Tough job.
It's one of the worst stadiums in the country. They're out in the middle of a desert. Everybody thinks Oregon, it's green and it's pretty up there in trees. No, it's not. I've landed there before. It's like a desert.
Pullman?
Yeah, it's terrible. So they're out in the boonies, but
witness protection program.
But this guy is winning games out there. Now, he's not winning national championships, but he's making a name for himself out there. And I'm sure at some point somebody said, if they were asked, that's got to be one of the toughest jobs in America.
Yeah. Yeah, and that doesn't mean you can't overcome it. It just means that here are some of the challenges. Interesting conversation. You can hit us on the T-Mobile listener line in about 15, 20 minutes. We're going to hear from Andy Kennedy, about 20 minutes from right now, a former Ole Miss coach and now college basketball analyst for ESPN, the SEC Network. But in the meantime, we've got time for your calls on the T-Mobile listener line. Holidays are coming, and it's so hard to get everyone just the right gift. But at T-Mobile, they're making the perfect gift for everyone in the family easy. Right now, when you join T-Mobile and trade in last year's phone, you can get unlimited with a Samsung S9 for just $40 a month. Gift giving for the whole family made easy with unlimited and a Samsung Galaxy S9 included. That's $30 for the plan, $10 a month for the Galaxy S9. You get unlimited somewhere else, or you get unlimited and a phone for the same price at T-Mobile. Everyone in the family is going to enjoy it. Phones included is only at T-Mobile.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
28% of all Americans don't know what they are going to eat 2 hours before dinner. You can avoid this wretched fate.
This holiday season, choose Foghorns. With 5 Northwest Arkansas locations, there's always one nearby. Enjoy amazing daily specials like the new Kids Day Wednesday. All day, kids 12 and under eat free with an adult entree purchase. On Mondays, get 50-cent wings with your French fry purchase. Dine in only. And Monday through Friday, enjoy a late night happy hour from 8 to 9 on domestic drafts for $2. Foghorns, wings, burgers, sports, and live music.
You probably haven't thought about how to act like a millionaire, because if you're like me, you aren't one. But the new Ultimate Million Scratch-Off game from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery, it's going to make 4 people into instant millionaires, which means you need to be ready for important decisions. Like, how does a millionaire walk? Do I need a new nickname, a secret millionaire handshake? Which car to take to work? Or should I even show up? Hey, it's time to start thinking like a millionaire, Arkansas, because you could be millionairing soon. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Your holiday guests deserve the best. Richard's Country Meat Market has everything you need for a delicious holiday season, especially the best meats in town. Delicious prime rib, tasty beef tenderloin, pork crown roast, Petit Jean hams, turducken, steaks, and roasts. Call Richard's today at 479-443-0000 or stop by in Fayetteville to place your order and see the many additional options for your holiday dinner or party. Richard's Country Meat Market, your home for the best meats in town.
Life is better with basketball. And with First Security, we have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Greg McElroy joining us on the First Security Bank hotline. Former Alabama and NFL quarterback, now ESPN college football analyst, and you can catch him mornings on ESPNU Radio. Greg, great to have you on, man. Thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, you got it, Bo. How you doing, brother?
I'm well, and you were on a topic today that we talk about fairly often here, which is how difficult the Arkansas job can be. I know it's asking you to repeat yourself a little, but you guys were on the topic of difficult jobs today. Where is Arkansas on that list?
It's up there, man. The one thing that I would say about Arkansas, though, is that the fans, albeit, yeah, they want to win, they're reasonable about their expectations. So, like, I would put Arkansas not in the same sense as like a Kansas State. We got on the topic today because Kansas State hired Chris Kleiman, from North Dakota State, and I'm like, man, if you could take a job, you're at North Dakota State, and you're going 65-5 over the last few years. You're just stepping into a role that's nearly impossible. So that's kind of how we got into the rabbit hole of most difficult jobs. And Arkansas came up, and I've felt this way for a while since Texas A&M got in the league. The Arkansas job is the toughest in the SEC and among the toughest in the Power 5. I really believe that because Arkansas used to have a ticket to all the players in the state of Texas, and not even just players, dude, like just students. Like students that wanted a Southeastern Conference experience could go from Texas to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to Arkansas and pay in-state tuition and have that SEC experience. Like all my friends are Arkansas fans, every single one of them. So it's been a challenge since Texas A&M got in the league because now kids can say, well, I'll just stay in state and I'll have that same experience and I'll get to play for a state school that I'm proud of and I'll be able to contend, hopefully, for in the nicest facilities in college football for an SEC championship someday. So I think that A&M made the Arkansas job exponentially more difficult.
You are dialed into Sports Talk. Got something to say? Join the show by calling the T-Mobile listener line at 877-447-4040. Join America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile. Here is Bo Mattingly.
Mike Irwin was just waxing eloquent in the break about the worst place to get stuck in the SEC.
I was.
Where would the worst place to?
What I said was, if somebody came along and said, we're going to make you a lot younger, and you have to go back and spend 20 years covering a college sports team in the SEC. And we're not going to give you a choice of where you go. We'll just give you one pick of where you don't want to go, and that would be Missouri. The strangest from a media standpoint, it's just, you can't hardly describe how strange that place is from a media standpoint. They've got a press box. Every press box I've ever seen, Bo, is a big open thing with lots of guys in it. There's a lot of energy in there, and everybody's in the press box. At Missouri, they got little rooms. It's like, I'm trying to figure out, is this the cool room? And you're not in the cool room. You're over here with these other guys.
Yeah,
and so
you don't have to figure that out. That's how it was.
But if you're in the Missouri media, is there something where you
So you don't like Missouri?
No.
You don't like the setup, and then they
Bo,
put you in a tent after the game.
Have you ever been in the tent?
Oh yeah,
the tent.
Yeah.
And with the band walking by.
It's a bad setup. Bad.
I mean,
Mike Irwin doing his part to get the rivalry started.
Yes.
The borderline rivalry. David and Cersei on the T-Mobile listener line.
Hey, guys. Bo, a guy called a little earlier, and he was going on about how we shouldn't have lost to Colorado State and we shouldn't have lost to North Texas. Well, he's right, almost. We should not have lost to that Colorado State team. North Texas, Bo, I watched the game. I watched every bit of it. North Texas was simply better than we were.
They had 6 turnovers, though. Arkansas had 6 picks, 6 interceptions.
I understand that, but we couldn't do anything with that little quarterback. He looked like a Heisman
I thought they got
Trophy
some
winner
stops
that
in the
day.
game. I think Arkansas wins that game if they're the same team that plays A&M 24-17.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm not disrespecting North Texas, but I thought Arkansas was not what they were later in the year at that point.
Well, I got to tell you, the SEC championship game, I was really pulling for Georgia because I thought how great it would be for Alabama and Georgia to be in the Final Four again, which is exactly what would have happened if Georgia had eked out a victory over them. And I found it hard to pull for Georgia for some reason. And then when the quarterback got hurt and Hurts had to come in, it's all out the window then. How in the world could you not pull for that kid to win that ball game for them? He has showed what a class act he is, and I was as nervous as watching the Razorbacks in a bowl game. That's how much I was pulling for the kid. And when they finally did it, it just made my whole week, Bo. How can you not pull for him? And I'd just like to say that just really, really made my heart feel better because he has showed what kind of a guy he is. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Well, he has. I mean, look, it's not all, I'm sure, roses either. It's not like Jalen Hurts always done or always said or always acted the right way in this whole thing behind the scenes. But I'll tell you, when you're at Alabama, you've got the best support system there is to have. And they end up protecting you from yourself a lot of times. And so, for example, if Jalen Hurts in the second half of that Alabama game last year when they win the national championship with Tua is over there feeling sorry for himself, there's going to be 3 or 4 people that come over there and remind him, hey, man, get out there and smile. You're making money. You go out there and smile and you're making money. You have your head down. You're losing money. You're losing credibility. And I'm just telling you, it's one of the things I've brought this up a few times. All we do around here is not here, everywhere in college football is talk about the coach. Talk about the coach. And it starts with the coach. But you got to have it all the way through. Start with the chancellor, the AD, the administration, all the help. And the thing that Saban has is that he's in charge. He gets it, whatever he wants. Now, I don't know if we've told the story, but there's a what do you call it? Not a myth, but an old tale.
Folklore
Yeah.
or something like
yeah.
that.
So we'll put that in this category. But I think it's actually probably true that Saban, when they lost Jameis Winston to Florida State, he had heard that they had considered like doing renovations to Alabama's baseball stadium. And he went to a guy that had the plans that had just been kind of sitting there for a while, one of the ADs. And he told the AD, he said, y'all need to go ahead and get that $50 million renovation done or whatever. He said, we don't need to lose any more future Heisman Trophy winners to Florida State because our baseball facility is not nice enough.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that's being connected. Well, I mean, I don't know if you realize Alabama's got a new baseball stadium.
Yeah.
And it probably took, the football. Now, how true is that? How much of that is, there's probably some. But that's the kind of thing that happens in programs, A through Z. You got the nutrition right. You got the PR right. You've got you're getting the best at every spot, and everybody's being challenged at a high standard. And so Jalen Hurts, my point there is we don't know every feeling and thought and whatever Jalen Hurts did, but man, they have handled it there beautifully. Yeah. I mean, when Jalen Hurts went out on media day and said, "Oh, none of the coaches asked my opinion," I mean, that was it. It wasn't Saban didn't make it worse. He didn't. It just kind of that went back to being normal. Everything's fine.
Went away.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't get on to him. He didn't get in trouble for saying it. You just kind of they do an unbelievable job of managing all the exterior stuff. So that's just part of the discussion or the story, in my opinion, there with Jalen Hurts. I mentioned these grades earlier. Chad Morris, D- from Adam Rittenberg, ESPN. Dan Mullen, A-. Joe Moorhead, B-. Matt Luke, D+. Jeremy Pruitt, C-. Jimbo Fisher, B+. First-year coaches in the SEC. Any arguments with that?
We did a version of that, but it was only Arkansas related. I don't know, after the season was over on our Pig Trail show on Sunday. And I think I ended up giving Morris a D, not a D-, but a D. I mean, you have to do that because of the lack of results. But I made Ds, but I wasn't limited to making Ds. You can always bounce back and make a B or an A or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the early grade that doesn't really matter.
Sure.
The later grade's the one that's going to matter more. Speaking of the first-year SEC coaches, Jeremy Pruitt, C-. C- for Jeremy Pruitt.
Surprised he didn't get an E.
Yesterday, we had the...
that's a joke.
Nice.
It's actually in this thing.
Yesterday, we had the 9th day of Christmas.
We did.
Now, we're on our time frame, maybe not yours.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is the 9 day. We're 12 days of Christmas. The 9th day of Christmas. 9 worst Jeremy Pruitt English language moments.
Sports Talk. Presented by Swift's Jewelry, your personal jeweler since 1956.
The 9 worst Jeremy Pruitt English language moments. His pronunciation of once.
During the summertime, they took a wellness class and met once a week. Since I've been here, once a month, we've met with our team.
His pronunciation of mirror.
I think we all need to look in the mirror.
His pronunciation of meetings.
It was not very focused in the meetings. Didn't take what we went over in the meetings to the field.
His pronunciation of schedules.
Working on opponents, planning summer schedules.
His message to the fans who didn't show up for the spring game.
And there were some people that wasn't here. Why wasn't they here?
His thoughts on music at practice.
I darn sure don't want music out there where they can't hear what I'm saying.
What Tennessee's loss to Vandy means.
I just think it means they done better than we did.
His A, B, C, D, E grading scale.
If you looked at it from a grade, A, B, C, D, E, it would be about a D.
And his response when asked about chicken skin.
When you think about running through the T at Neyland Stadium for the first time this Saturday, does that give you a little bit of chicken skin?
A little bit of what?
A chicken skin, You know what I'm making reference to when I say chicken skin? You're a Southern boy.
I ain't got no idea.
I ain't got no
Jeremy
idea.
Pruitt. Where's the asparagus? No asparagus. in
The
there.
asparagus didn't make
Didn't make the cut. 12 Days of Christmas, 9 Jeremy Pruitt grammar issues. Guys, if you're looking for the perfect piece of jewelry for a Christmas gift this year, Swift's is the place to go. They make it easy to find the perfect gift for everyone on your holiday shopping list. They've got their very own Swift signature watches for men and women, diamond and colored gemstone jewelry, officially licensed Razorback jewelry, and a huge selection of engravable gifts. They have the custom engraving machine right there in the store to engrave a personalized message onto just about anything. There truly is something for everyone at Swift's. Beautifully packaged and ready to put under the tree this holiday season. Swift's is located on the downtown Fayetteville Square, right above Hugo's. Check them out at swiftsjewelry.com and on social media at Swift's Jewelry. Stay tuned for your chance to win something from Swift's. We got a special giveaway, and you can also listen a little bit later because I've got the 8th day of doing a 2-for-1 special
Yes, we are.
today. Andy Kennedy to talk some hoops coming up. Can I squeeze in this call? No, I can't. All right, we'll be right back.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. Streaming live on sportandstory.com.
This holiday season, you're going to need a bigger stocking. That's because the perfect stocking stuffer for anyone on your list is a new Honda Bike or ATV, stuffed with awesome. Now's the time to give or get the ultimate gift at Heartland Honda during Honda's Gifts That Go sales event. And the greatest gift of all is a brand new Honda Pioneer 1000. With a 1000 class engine, this is the best side-by-side Honda has to offer. It's designed for adventure, not compromise. And right now, you can ride off on one with some of our best deals of the year. Get as low as 3.99% fixed APR financing on select models, plus up to $1,500 factory-to-dealer incentives. Find the gifts that will knock their stockings off at Heartland Honda in Springdale, exit 72 from I-49 just north of Cracker Barrel during Honda's Gifts That Go sales event happening right now. Special 3.99% fixed APR financing is available for well-qualified buyers. Not all buyers may qualify. Factory-to-dealer incentives are good with select new and unregistered models. See dealer for complete program details.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Greg McElroy, ESPN SEC Network college football analyst in here in mornings on ESPNU Radio. When you watch the Heisman Trophy ceremony play out and Kyler Murray wins it and Tua comes in second after, it looked like it was in his grasp much of the season. Do you think this came down to the last weekend of the season, the SEC championship game, Big 12 championship game?
I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. The SEC championship game is obviously a significant one. I really believe that had Tua gone out and lit it up against Georgia, he probably would have won the award. But then again, I mean, I don't think that many people are going to be prisoners in the moment. I would hope that the voters would look at the entire body of work and make their determination by doing other things. I think there's a few things. One, Kyler's a runner. And when you're a runner and you can create highlight reel plays, right now there's too many voters, Bo. It's ridiculous how many people have votes that are unworthy of having votes.
Agreed.
Fanboys, if you will. For instance, Johnny Tuscaloosa, who's on a local radio show, who literally all he does is tweet Auburn jokes all day long, and his Twitter profile says Heisman voter.
I brought this up yesterday. I feel like the system's antiquated. I feel like we need to sort of revise how we vote on the Heisman. If you take the college football playoff committee as an example, I'm not saying it needs to be exactly the same, but this is it's if we're going to continue to hold it in such high prestige, I feel like we might want to change how. And make sure that the people analyzing all the data know how to analyze the data.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fanboys, Bo, because right now it's all about regional representation. Now we got to make sure we get enough people from the Southeast and the Midwest. No one cares anymore. It's not a regional sport anymore. It's a national sport. Times have changed. It's time for the Heisman voting process to change alongside it. It's ridiculous. We're stuck in the 1970s. When it comes to voting for the Heisman Trophy, and honestly, it's absurd. I mean, so the voting issues aside, I think it's become a stat-based award and an award that is handed out because of highlights. And honestly, Baker Mayfield made a lot of highlight reel plays, but what really started to make me feel this way is when Lamar Jackson won the Heisman. Like, don't get me wrong, Lamar was a sensation. But if you look at the plays that made you say, wow, I mean, Lamar had more of those than Deshaun Watson or anyone else that season. Like, if you just stay in the pocket and throw a seed, no one's saying, wow, except for quarterbacks. Like, when you run around and make a million guys miss, they're falling down and you're running in circles and you're doing things, you're running around like crazy, that makes people's jaw drop. So I think it's become a highlight-based award, man. If you are heavily favored in the highlights on ESPN, if you play in the noon game, then your highlights are seen in the between the games. You're seen at the halftime of the 4 o'clock game, then you're seen at the end of the 4 o'clock game, then you're seen at the halftime of the primetime game. It's like it's a highlight-based award because we have people that have responsibilities at a stadium on game day that are responsible for covering one team.
And now, the Ozark Sportsman Supply Hog Update.
Chabasi Nwana committing to Arkansas today. The 6'8", 320-pound offensive tackle from Lackawanna Community College is the second offensive lineman to commit to Arkansas in the last 2 days. The SEC Network's Greg McElroy on Chad Morris's recruiting success.
I'm not shocked because right now you can sell optimism, you can sell hope, and you can absolutely sell early playing time. So those are three things that recruits kind of gravitate towards. Early playing time, probably more than anything else, considering they're undergoing a huge shift in philosophy.
The early signing period begins December 19th.
It's been like a resurgence of players coming out, more than it's been, in my tenure here before. And I thought that speaks well because we're not only getting the best players, I think, Chuck, that are in our state, but these are some of the best players in the country. And I think that's what people are seeing.
Arkansas heading to the capital city this weekend once finals are over. The Hogs hosting UTSA at Verizon Arena. The Roadrunners currently 3-6 on the season, losing to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State earlier in the year. Tip-off at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And lastly, we want to wish Mike Anderson a very happy birthday. I'm Alyssa Orange for the Pig Trail Nation, and that's your Hog Update.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Thanks, Alyssa. The update brought to you by Ozark Sportsman Supply and Outpost Clothing and Footwear. Friday is the All Fridays Matter sale. It's going to extend through the weekend, stretching the paycheck so you can have some amazing shopping and get some amazing deals. It's going to smash any Friday sales event, including Black Friday, that they've had all year. It's the biggest sale of the year at Ozark Sportsman Supply. Save up to 70% off in the whole store, both sides of the store, Highway 412 west of Springdale in Tawnytown. Let's go to the First Security Bank hotline. He is the winningest coach in Ole Miss program history, now with the SEC Network as a basketball analyst. Andy Kennedy, friend of the program. And Andy, thanks for making time for us.
Hey, Bo. Good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Good to have you on the show. I know you were in studio. You saw the Arkansas loss to Western Kentucky. Look, there's a lot of season left. It just kind of felt like, given where Arkansas is in the opinion of the bracketologist, that maybe they needed to win that game at home. Let's start there. Is this a damaging loss in any way to Arkansas?
Well, the most damaging is the fact that you lose a home game. As coaches, we always preach defending your home court. That's probably the biggest drawback I see from that loss. Very competitive game. Western Kentucky, I believe, was predicted to win Conference USA. They played a pretty challenging non-league schedule up until going into Bud Walton Arena and had lost a few. I think they lost 3 out of their last 4 going into Bud Walton. but they've got a good team. They've got a veteran coach, obviously, in Rick Stansbury, who has been through many battles in the SEC. And, they lose a one-possession game. Those things happen in December, most especially when you're dealing with a number of first-year or inexperienced players in your backcourt.
Yeah, and that's something that people talked a lot about going into the season. Have you been surprised with how well Anderson's team has played so far?
Well, I think, in the preseason, again, those polls, as well as I do, don't mean anything. They're just kind of a talking point or a basis to start. And many people, obviously, with the loss of Jalen Barford and Daryl Macon, two all-league caliber players who had played such a pivotal role in Arkansas' success the last few years, those guys are leaving. Nobody really knows who's going to fill that void. They all know that Daniel Gafford is a great player, and what's going to happen in the backcourt. I think they are one of the teams that has exceeded a lot of expectation externally to their play to this point. They lost a heartbreaker to Texas where they're up late. Texas hits the three to get it to overtime and end up losing. Then they had a great win, one of the best wins for the league in the early part of this season in beating Indiana, who's going to show themselves very well in the Big Ten Conference. And so that's one that truly you can hang your hat on when it's selection time if you put yourself in position to be worthy. You then, they're rolling along. They take a tough loss against a Western Kentucky team who'd been struggling a bit, but I think, again, is going to end up being one that is not going to hurt them numbers-wise. And I'm sure it was a great opportunity for Mike to teach the fact that, quite frankly, you watch the game like I did. As you said, I was in studio. They turned Western Kentucky over 10 times in the first half and only 4 times in the second half. Arkansas is most successful, most especially in that building, when they're turning you over, and that didn't happen as permanently in the second half, and that's something I'm sure he's harping on as they lead into their next game.
They haven't been great at the free throw line either. They didn't get bench production in this game like they had a little bit earlier on the road at Colorado State. I mean, you mentioned it a little bit. I think you got some young guys here. Are you going to just expect to have up and down a little bit? I mean, what do you see about this team you like? What do they got to figure out?
The thing that jumps off the page at me, I had never seen Isaiah Joe. I'd never heard his name. I didn't know anything about him. Man, that kid can play. Really, really impressed with his ability to make shots. And he just looks like, well, you've done this a long time. Sometimes guys just have it. He's just got a poise to his game that typically you don't see for a freshman in his first month and a half of the season. He's an easy shot maker. He's got great feet. His hands are always ready to score. And it's one thing if you knock down 3 or 4 threes in the first couple of games and then you kind of get to the head of the scouting report. But he's been knocking down, on average of 3 or 4 a game at a pretty high clip. Been really impressed with him. Daniel Gafford continues to improve offensively. He obviously gives you such a great presence at the basket defensively. And all of the other pieces to the puzzle are coming together. Again, stubbed their toe a little bit, losing a home game against a good team in Western Kentucky. Certainly not the end of the world. A lot of opportunity moving forward. And with the way that the league is shaping up, with Tennessee making such a statement Sunday, knocking off Gonzaga, Auburn, I think, is better than they were last year, and that was good enough to win the SEC regular season championship along with Tennessee. Mississippi State is as good as they've been since the aforementioned Rick Stansbury was the coach. They're going to get back to the tournament for the first time since 2009, I believe. LSU is as talented as anybody. So there's a number of quality opportunities for Arkansas moving forward.
Andy Kennedy, SEC Network college basketball analyst, former Ole Miss, the winningest coach in school history there, our guest on the First Security Bank hotline. When you get into SEC play, and I can even remember some years where I didn't think the league was particularly great, but it seems like everybody knows each other really well, and the games maybe get harder. Like they know what you want to do, you know what they want to do. I mean, what is it like, and will it be like for this Arkansas team as they get into to SEC play?
Well, what you can't explain, especially to young guys, is the grind, because the grind is real. It's like getting up and going to that job each and every day and having to perform. And when SEC rolls around, you're playing about every 3 days, and everybody that you're playing is a quality team led by a quality coach. and they are going to know all of your tendencies. So there are no easy outs. The promising thing, I think, Bo, and again, I was in the league for 12 years, so there were times in the league where you may lose a game inside the Southeastern Conference schedule, and it really, really hurts your numbers. Even though all the games, I don't care if the team is first place in the league or last place, every conference game is difficult, most especially on the road. We were in a situation a couple of times where we would drop one or two of those on the road, and it was really damaging to your analytics and hoping that your numbers made sense for you to get in the NCAA tournament. I think those days are over because I think everybody is scheduled aggressively. There's obviously some teams going through some transitional phases right now, but overall, I think the league top to bottom is going to give you a number of opportunities to help yourself.
Coach, how's Tennessee done it with Rick Barnes? I mean, they're up there. You know, I mean, you could argue they're the best team in the country. Somebody could make that argument. I mean, they're in the conversation for sure.
Oh, they're definitely in the conversation. I think it starts with Rick Barnes. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a guy that, you know, he was at Tennessee. And listen, I just lived it. He was at Tennessee a long time, and you know, when a guy's there a long time, you just kind of get bored with it. It's the nature of sport. And so they were like, hey, man, let's make a change. And it was Tennessee's good nature and blessing that they were going through a change, and he falls right in their lap. I think it was one of those hires. Everybody said, oh, man, Tennessee got a good basketball coach, but I don't think they had any idea that he was going to do what he's been able to do in such a short period of time. Outstanding man, first and foremost, Bo. You got to remember this. He was on Alabama's staff briefly. He worked for Wimp Sanderson when I was coming out of high school, so he actually recruited me out of high school. That's how far back we go.
How about that?
He's done an outstanding job in player evaluation and putting together a team. They are legitimately a national title contender. I hope for him, my friendship with him, and for the league that they can stay healthy. And if they do, when you look at their team, Grant Williams last year was Player of the Year in the league. He's gotten better. Admiral Schofield may have turned himself into a potential NBA player with his development. The young man inside, Kyle Alexander, now is a legitimate five-man who can do things at the basket for them defensively, and he's scoring at like 70-some-odd% from the field early in the season. And then he's got 3 or 4 guards, and they're developing depth. So they've got all of the pieces to have an outstanding year, and they're certainly putting those together early.
Great stuff. It's a great look at it, Coach. We hope to do it again soon. Always appreciate you making time for us, and we'll catch up.
Great, Bo. My pleasure.
Thanks, man. We'll take care. You take care. We'll talk soon. Andy Kennedy, former Ole Miss head coach, who is the winningest coach in school history, and I think he's right. They got bored, and good luck with that. I think he'll end up with somebody, and he'll have success. Quick trivia question: does anybody know where Andy Kennedy played college basketball? In the mid-late 80s.
I do not know.
Andy Kennedy.
Hang on. North Carolina.
No, but you're closer than you realize. He went to NC State for a year or two, and then he went to UAB and finished his career there. Oh. Trivia question. Now, what link does Andy Kennedy and Mike Anderson have in basketball?
UAB.
That's all I have for you.
Okay.
All guests join us on the First Security Bank hotline.
It's a good trivia question.
You know, he mentioned he got recruited by Rick Barnes, and I thought, well, you know, where did Andy Kennedy play college basketball? So here we go. Help make Christmas a bit brighter for nearly 4,500 Arkansas children in foster care. From now through the 15th, Restore Hope Arkansas and Red Door Tables invite you to drop off a monetary gift card, or new unwrapped toy at any First Security Banking location.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly, streaming live on sportandstory.com.
Life is better with basketball, and with First Security. We have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
What's your more? Maybe it's a bigger garage for that 67 Fastback of your dreams. And your own racetrack for you and your buddies. Whatever you'd like more of, Powerball from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $220 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Are you in the market for a new pool or spa? Seaside Pools and Spas has been constructing quality pools in the four-state area since 1967. It's your one-stop shop for chemicals, equipment, spas, and in-ground pools. With a service department like no other, Seaside Pools and Spas can also help you with all your pool or spa repair needs. Visit Seaside Pools and Spas today in Springdale, Bentonville, and Joplin, Missouri. Seaside Pools and Spas.
Lindsay Golf Courses range from 27-hole championship to 9-hole par 3s and are making a presence in affordable country club memberships for both individuals and families. Our challenging courses and extensive amenities are designed to attract golfers of all ability levels and offer recreational and social opportunities for members. Lindsay 18-hole championship golf courses can be found in Northwest Arkansas, Paradise Valley Athletic Club in Fayetteville, and in Rogers at Lost Springs Golf and Athletic Club. Or you can visit lindsaymanagement.com for a complete list of Lindsay golf courses.
Life is better with football. And with First Security, we have the know-how to tackle your needs plus a local team you can count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
All right, first off, let's give Western Kentucky a lot of credit. I thought they came in with the right mindset, and in the end, they wanted it more than we did. I thought we looked sluggish on defense in terms of getting to spots, and then it came down to making plays, making free throws, and you go back, the course of a game, free throws kind of add up, and they made theirs, especially the big guy who's making free throws going down the stretch, and they made some clutch plays. And but like I said, talent-wise, a very talented basketball team, and this is another learning curve for our young basketball team. How do you handle the success, and you got to have the understanding. You got to come out and you got to defend, and I didn't think we defended the way we're capable of defending. But let's give credit to Western Kentucky as well.
Mike, what was the plan coming out of the timeout with 19 seconds left? They'd taken the lead, and then what were you guys looking for?
Obviously, we wanted to get the floor spread and get it inside, attack, get a foul, or let's get the ball into Dan. And if they collapse, which they were doing, let's get it to the shooters. We had a little more success than when we opened up the floor and we were in attack mode. They made a good play. The clock went down, and they made a good play. Big fella blocked the shot. But we were trying to get the ball in Dan, trying to get to the free throw line. I think that was what we were trying to do, and try to find Isaiah spotting up or Mason spotting up. So we had the floor spread. Oh, you talking about the one Isaiah? You talking about the one he shot? Well, the guy made a play. I thought if he went maybe one more step, he had Adriel wide open. So, but hindsight's 20/20. That's the learning curve. You got to learn how to make plays and make the right play. But the play before that, you go
down. You are dialed into Sports Talk. Got something to say? Join the show by calling the T-Mobile listener line at 877-447-4040. Join America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile. Here is Bo Mattingly.
Yes, I'm excited. I am. Mike Irwin's in here, and we are going to do Dope or Nope.
You got me in trouble the last time because you created the impression that I am anti-military because I didn't watch the Army-Navy game.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I bet you watched some of it this time.
I didn't, but
they played so hard.
The guy called in and pretty much wanted to, give
so
me
hard.
Like he gave me a lesson in patriotism.
Well, I think the pageantry around the game is what you probably need to watch.
Donald Trump showed up and they liked him, but I didn't.
Brad Nessler. I should have had this as my good on Monday. I forgot about it. Brad Nessler had the greatest line. Donald Trump does the coin toss. Yeah. And, as soon as the coin toss is over, Nessler goes, well, that's about as official as it gets. on the coin toss. I mean, you think about, here you got the commander in chief, and they got everything set up out there. All both sides, Army, Navy. Here we go, and then you have the president of the United States comes out and does the coin toss, and that is about as official.
Yeah, he's the head of all military.
There is the commander in chief. Let's go dope or nope.
Is dope
or
nope.
All right, so Mike tells us dope means good, nope means bad, whether he likes it or not, okay? So it's either dope,
It's dope.
or it's nope.
Nope.
All right. Christmas Vacation movie.
That was dope.
Is dope.
A Christmas Story movie.
I didn't like that. I would say no.
Nope.
You're on Bart's team. A 1-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Oh, nope.
Nope.
Putting up your own Christmas lights.
For me, nope.
Nope.
My wife, she loves it, but I don't.
Wrapping Christmas gifts.
Nope.
Nope.
Somebody else needs to do it.
Hanging Christmas ornaments.
Nope. Somebody else does it better.
Nope.
Decorating your house for Christmas.
Nope. Somebody else
Nope.
does it better.
Temple interim coach Ed Foley, who is all fired up about going to Shreveport.
The finest group of young men that's ever been through Shreveport. I hope you have a chance to see them, hold a door open for you, or say thank you for being here, or be truly appreciative, because guys, I love this team.
Yeah, that's dope. That's a good
Is
speech.
dope.
Kyler Murray winning the Heisman Trophy. Dope or nope?
Yeah, that's dope.
Is dope.
Arkansas landing a transfer quarterback.
That would be dope, depending
Is
on who
dope.
it is.
Yeah. Tua losing the Heisman on the last weekend.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's kind of nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Razorback basketball after a loss to Western Kentucky. Dope or nope?
That's nope.
Nope.
Expanding the playoff to 8 teams.
Oh, that's dope.
All right.
Is
there you
dope.
go.
Now, I just meant the loss was nope. To
Yeah.
them. The team
not
itself.
the team overall.
Team
Okay.
is fine.
Every once in a while, we got to have a clarification in dope or nope.
You are listening to Sports Talk, produced by Bart Pullman, directed by Sire Radler. Want the latest commentary, interviews, takes, and phone calls?
Anytime, anywhere.
Check out Sports Talk Primetime, Arkansas's premier sports talk podcast. Find it on iTunes or online at sportsandstory.com.
Gentlemen, when it comes to your health, there are numbers every man needs to know. Do you know your numbers? I know mine. I went to the Low T Center. They make it quick and easy to get all your levels checked. It's even covered by most health insurance. If you've been feeling tired and grumpy, have noticed weight gain and a loss of muscle mass, you need to get your levels checked. Low T Center physicians specialize in men's health and are reinventing men's health care. Call 479-439-9485. That's 479-439-9485. Or go to lowtcenter.com.
Razorback women's basketball is back inside Bud Walton Arena on Wednesday, November 28th at 7 p.m. for a matchup with Oral Roberts University. Tickets are $5 for adults and $3 for kids 12 and under. Doors open at 6 p.m., so bring out the family and come have some fun. Get your tickets at the door or call 1-800-982-HOGS or visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com. Stand side by side with the Razorback women's basketball.
What's your more? Maybe it's a bigger garage for that 67 Fastback of your dreams. And your own racetrack for you and your buddies. Whatever you'd like more of, Powerball from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $220 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
But the play before that, you go down and all we got to do is defend. I don't know how, but we had a guy that fall. I don't know how, and they left the big guy wide open, and somebody came over to help. And now that Nelson gets a wide open layup, so that's a breakdown in your defense.
Western Kentucky controlled tempo both halves pretty much.
I thought for the most part they did. We had some spurts there in the second half, even when we got down. I thought early in the game we made some shots early on. The motion to come and playing home was there, but I thought they did. They did a good job of controlling tempo. And then when you don't make shots, obviously it's going to rely a lot on your defense. And like I said, I just thought we were a little sluggish, and I don't know if the Colorado State hangover coming from there. You know, we shot the ball well and played well. Then it's a quick turnaround. But at the end of the day, they made more plays than we did. They had one more play that they made that we did.
Sills, did you feel the bench just wasn't up to what it's been?
They've been playing better. They've playing much better. Though they didn't play well. And as I said, it's a big component of our basketball team. Is our bench guys coming in and bringing energy and bringing that defensive mindset. And so we didn't do that tonight. And so it's a learning curve that every game we play is going to be a big game. And teams going to come, whether we play at home or on the road, they're going to come and leave it out on the floor. And your want to has got to be much bigger and better than theirs. And I thought they wanted a little bit more than we did.
How'd you feel Sills did as far as the second half?
Dez did well. I thought Dez was he did what he does. I thought he.
Over for a little bit, just kind of what was going through that and what opened up for you then?
Sitting on the sideline knowing that the starting five was like kind of lacking on energy. My job was coming on the bench to come in to give energy, and that's what I wanted to do.
As far as just free throws, was it just kind of contagious today? Because obviously all as a team weren't shooting like you normally do.
There's just a mental thing. Just we're going to come up next time. We're going to get in practice tomorrow, and we're going to take it from there. Good, AJ.
Guys, there were 2 flagrant fouls called in this game. Did you guys feel like it was getting chippy at any point?
By the fact that we only had 2 referees, so they were doing the best they could do. So by the flagrant calls, I really don't. I'm not a referee. They kind of do their judgments on that. But by having 2 referees kind of made the game tough throughout the whole game. So.
Hey, Drew, Western Kentucky scores, I think, with 19 seconds left. Timeout. What's the plan coming out of the timeout, and what happened there?
You said when it's Kentucky's ball? Western Kentucky's ball? We was just stay connected defensively. We kind of knew what we was doing offensively, but we wanted to stay connected defensively and get a stop. And the guy Bassie hooked Dan, and Dan tried to tell it and hit the floor, and then I helped him and I left my man open. So they got the layup, and but all that's adjustable, fixable.
Sports Talk.
Cutting it up
like this. Hit it.
You guys were on the topic of difficult jobs today. Where is Arkansas on that list?
It's up there, man. Arkansas came up, and I've felt this way for a while since Texas A&M got in the league. The Arkansas job is the toughest in the SEC. And among the toughest in the Power 5. I really believe that, because Arkansas used to have a ticket to all the players in the state of Texas, and not even just players, too, just students. Students that wanted a Southeastern Conference experience could go from Texas to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to Arkansas and pay in-state tuition and have that SEC experience.
Sports Talk's Drive at 5 is presented by Heartland Honda, your locally owned Honda Power Sports dealer. Work hard, play hard.
We're supposed to put it in the left lane and put the hammer down.
Buckle your seatbelt. Remember that. Buckle your seatbelt. We're going somewhere.
Here is Bo Mattingly.
Mike Irwin's in studio with me as the Heartland Honda Drive at 5 gets underway. You can get in here at 877-447-4040. That's the T-Mobile listener line. Mike is not happy, as some of our listeners are unhappy that Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, now on ESPN college football, rising star at ESPN, says Arkansas is one of the toughest jobs in all the Power 5 conferences. Tom Luginbill and McElroy were talking about it on their radio show on Sirius XM earlier this week. McElroy came on the show yesterday, and we talked about it here. And we're going to talk about it a little bit right now. Listen to what Tom Luginbill said from ESPN. He's the director of scouting on ESPNU Radio.
You know, when you look at when Arkansas has been at their best, it's when they've had their best offensive teams. Well, why is that? Because they don't have access to the defensive players that you have to compete in the SEC West.
Agree or disagree, Mike?
I think he's overstating it, but yeah, there's some truth to that. They really need to upgrade their defensive recruiting, and I think they're doing it now.
Here's something else Luginbill said.
There's no in-state talent. I mean, there's no kids where you sit there and say, okay, we got to keep these 8 or we got to keep these 12. You're looking at a state where you're saying we got to keep these 2. Right. Well, that's not enough.
That's overstated. It really varies from year to year. Some years it's 2 is ridiculous. Sometimes it's as little as 4, mostly around 6 to 8. In the old days, it was 10 to 12. But, you know, all you do when you have those issues is you got to go more out of state. And the answer has always been to go heavily into Texas. And that's not always easy to do, but if you do the right thing and get a coach that can do that, it changes things. I promise you it will.
Well, Arkansas, what you have to go on is what they've been traditionally. And traditionally, since joining the SEC, and now more recently, since the expansion of this league, adding A&M and Missouri, what we know and what could happen are either going to be the same thing or they're going to be different. And what we know is about where Arkansas has been, regardless of the strength of the league. We know that Arkansas has kind of been in the middle of the pack. So if it was 12 SEC teams, 6th or 7th has been about where they are, whether it's financially, resources, recruiting. And then now that they're or 14 teams, they're 7th or 8th right there in that spot. What's been really kind of amazing is how bad they've been since the expansion. And I think it's because that coincided with the scandal and the really difficult ending to the Petrino era. And then, Bielema just didn't work out in the long run. So they made some missteps and they had some things happen. But am I wrong? Am I wrong in that when they did expand this league in 2012, it just shoved Arkansas back further? The SEC network is also something to factor in because now everybody's got money. And can Mississippi State and Ole Miss, who have access to a lot of talented players and all the JUCOs in Mississippi, and there are more players if you draw a 300 or 400 mile radius around their campus than you are going to get drawing a circle around Arkansas's campus? Are they here to stay? Or are they now getting ready to go through their down cycles with what happened at Ole Miss and now Dan Mullen going to Florida? So this is the conversation. Is the tradition going to continue? Arkansas has been a tough job. It hasn't had the same resources that the top 6 schools in this conference have had. Only 6 schools in this conference have won an SEC title. That remains true today since they split in 92. Nobody's won outside of the top 3 in the East and outside of the top 3 in the West. And to refresh your memory, it's Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. It's Alabama, Auburn, LSU. Yeah. So what's going to change? I think a lot of people feel like A&M is going to make a run.
Well, again, it starts with recruiting. And there's some other issues here. Look, there's no question that if you go back and look at the greatest period of time in the history of Razorback football, it was the 1960s under Frank Broyles. And what separated him from any other head coach I've covered since I've been here, and I got here in 75, he had a better staff. He did not have a bunch of guys on his staff that just stayed forever. Especially the coordinators were all going after head coaching jobs. So that's one thing I don't know about Morris. We know that the defensive coordinator is not going to become a head coach because he's toward the end of his career and he doesn't want to be. So what about Craddock? Is this guy going to become a head coach somewhere? I mean, maybe, but right now it doesn't look like it. He could change that. What I believe is that Morris has some really good recruiters. I have to see evidence that they're really good coaches on the field, practice field, and put the best guys out there and make it happen during games. So he would have to do that, what Coach Broyles did, in order to equal kind of what Coach Broyles did back in the 60s. And that's what everybody's looking for. You talk to any Razorback fan that was around back then or even as a little kid, and they'll tell you that's what they're looking for. They think if you did it once, you can do it again. Who's going to be the guy that does it?
You can hit us on the T-Mobile listener line, 877-447-4040. You did bring up one interesting thing right there. How many guys on this staff do you peg as future head coaches? Jeff Traylor was up for a job, an FCS job.
Stephen F. Austin.
Paid a lot less than what he's making, so it wasn't a tough decision.
But if you're talking about, I mean, it's a little bit different approach for Chad Morris. He's brought a bunch of guys that he has known for a long time. Some of them were GAs with him.
Well, he's just getting started, too. It's not like he's been around for 12, 15 years as a head coach. So we'll see if he develops some of these guys.
Yeah, how much staff turnover might there be? I think there could be a guy or two.
Well, you have turnover two different ways. You're terrible and they get fired, or you're really good and somebody wants them.
Or you just go, you don't have to be necessarily terrible. You just might not be the fit that they thought it was. I was a little surprised. Not entirely. I shouldn't say I was surprised. But I did wonder, because I'm not surprised, but I did wonder what would happen with Chavis. You know.
There was a lot of
speculation. But it was up to him. It was up to him. Apparently, it wasn't up to Chad. Like, if Chad Morris didn't, I'm not saying he didn't like Chavis's year, but let's just say he didn't and wanted to move on. It wasn't really up to him. It was up to Chavis, the way I read the contract.
Here's where the speculation started. After the, trying to remember the game, it was not the Missouri game. It was Mississippi State. And that was the one where Chavis at halftime came down from the booth, remember, at Morris's pretty much direction. And apparently what happened was Morris jumped all over Chavis. And so the rumor among media people and sources I have by Monday was he's out. And if he's out, they're going to lose a bunch of these defensive recruits. It's going to come unraveled because you've got a sky is falling mentality right now. Everybody's just willing to freak out over anything. What it turned out to be was that Chad Morris chewed everybody out like that, the whole staff, because that's what he does. And then he is like Frank Broyles. This is where he's like Broyles. He chews somebody out, and when it's over, it's like it didn't happen. I've properly corrected you. Now we're fine. Frank did that all the time, right up until he fired somebody. Yeah. So we'll see.
We're brought to you in part by the Low T Center. Gentlemen, when it comes to taking care of your health, they've made it easier to take that first step. It all starts with knowing the numbers that are essential to a man, like testosterone, blood pressure, cholesterol, prostate, and thyroid. Improper or low levels can make you feel awful, can cause a lack of motivation and drive, weight gain, and a loss of muscle mass. Raise your cholesterol levels and can affect your sleep. If you've been experiencing any of these symptoms, get to the Low T Center. They make it quick and easy for men to take care of their health. Most health insurance is accepted. They'll even verify it for you. Take the first step and call 479-439-9485. That's 479-439-9485. Or go to lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Sports Talk's Drive at 5 is presented by Heartland Honda, your locally owned Honda Power Sports dealer. Work hard, play hard.
Life is better with basketball and with First Security. We have the know-how to assist with your needs, plus a local team you could count on. What's your better? Get there with us. First Security. Bank better. FSbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The holiday season is here, and T-Mobile is the perfect place to find the perfect gift, like the Samsung Galaxy S9. Right now, T-Mobile has some of the season's best deals on the hottest phones, which means there's never been a better time to get the Samsung Galaxy S9. But the holidays aren't going to last forever, and neither are these great deals. So don't miss your chance to get the perfect gift. Check out all the deals at T-Mobile.com or head to a T-Mobile store today.
Fleet Center of Arkansas is hosting a toy drive benefiting Arkansas Children's Northwest.
Now through December 16th. Bring in one toy valued at $25 and receive $500 off your down payment. Bring in 2 toys, receive $1,000 off. Fleet Center of Arkansas has huge savings on the highest quality vehicles of your choice and offers a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Stop by Fleet Center of Arkansas in Rogers off Hudson Road. Drop off a toy and find the right vehicle for the job.
Are you in the market for a new pool or spa? Seaside Pools and Spas has been constructing quality pools in the 4-state area since 1967. It's your one-stop shop for chemicals, equipment, spas, and in-ground pools. With a service department like no other, Seaside Pools and Spas can also help you with all your pool or spa repair needs. Visit Seaside Pools and Spas today in Springdale, Bentonville, and Joplin, Missouri. Seaside Pools and Spas.
This is Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly.
Are you surprised that Chad Morris is having a lot of success? Really almost record-breaking success. We'll see how he signs the class when it's all done, not only this early signing period, but in February. But from a commitment standpoint, I mean, he is borderline setting a record at Arkansas since we've been keeping track of recruiting rankings. Is that surprising?
Well, he had to. You know, it was one of those things like, I mean, they were, and when we talked to him, we did the Arkansas-Alabama game, and I love Chad. I've known Chad for a really long time, and I think the world of him. I really do. I'm just so excited to see what he does with the program. He felt pretty good about some of the in-state talent at that time. He felt very good about their ability to attract quarterbacks and find some guys that are diamonds in the rough. Like Chad said, that the big reason why they were successful at SMU and anywhere else they've been before is that they really just trust the way his coaches evaluate talent. And I think they got ahead of the curve on a couple kids. And now those kids have kind of blown up, and since they were the first ones there, as a result, those kids are staying true to and being loyal to some of the guys that are on that Arkansas staff. So I think that's part of it, but I'm not shocked because right now you can sell optimism, you can sell hope, and you can absolutely sell early playing time. So those are 3 things that recruits kind of gravitate towards. Early playing time, probably more than anything else, considering they're undergoing a huge shift in philosophy. So basically everyone that goes in has a chance to potentially play as a freshman. That, coupled with the fact that, man, hey, we want you to help build something, like that intrigues me as a player. I remember when I was coming out of high school, man, I just wanted to help build something. I wanted to leave the program in better shape than when we inherited it. That was a big, big draw for me. So that kind of led me to Alabama in the mid-2000s, long before we kind of had gotten over the hump. So it's an exciting time, I think, for the fan base. And obviously, you can recruit well, and you have a chance, and you just got to develop and make sure that you recruit the right guys.
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight.
The ball kind of popped out, but I put it back in.
I didn't alter the ball in any way.
I said, let's lose 11-5.
And now it's time for Sports Talk's No Malarkey Minute. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky, Northwest Arkansas's on-time electrician. Call 888-8-SPARKY today.
Regardless of how tough the Arkansas job might be, recruiting's always been the challenge, and right now Chad Morris is crushing it. Let's see how he does on the finish. Let's see how he does long-term. But here is the reality, that Arkansas has 6 of the top 100 players in Texas committed right now. From 2013 to 2018, the last 6 years, the Razorbacks signed a total of 9. Chad Morris is, what would we say, 2/3 of the way there in 1 year of full recruiting at Arkansas to the 6 previous years that happened before him. That's a good start for a guy who was supposed to come in and bring recruiting ties from Texas with him. The No Malarkey Minute brought to you by Mr. Sparky, Northwest Arkansas's on-time electrician. If you've got an electrical problem, it doesn't matter how big or small, call our friends at Mr. Sparky. You know the number, 888-8-SPARKY, or you can log on to their website at MrSparkyNWA.com.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888
meet Sparky.
We're on the 8th day of 12 Days of Christmas, and we all know that Eddie from Clarksville has suffered a tragic loss, and he's been battling through it. He sent some thank you notes the other day. He still wanted us to remind you how thankful he was for all the financial and prayer support that he got as he had to, unfortunately, go through the tragic experience of losing his son. But Eddie has been a staple on this show, and today, and he'll continue to be, no doubt, in the future. Today, we think about Eddie's great moments, 8 great Eddie moments on the 8th day of 12 Days of Christmas.
Sports Talk. Presented by Swift's Jewelry, your personal jeweler since 1956.
8 of our favorite Eddie in Clarksville moments. His reasoning behind the decline of football players in Central Arkansas.
You can't get kids off Facebook and off the internet to go out and play for their school.
Where his love for the Razorbacks began.
Where it all began was, for me, it was in 1971 and Little Rock, Arkansas against Texas. We beat them 31-7 in a torrential downpour. Eddie from Clarksville was in his dappers, 6 years old.
His favorite Razorbacks this year, Devwall Whaley, Heston
Kostad,
and Barrett Lowski.
We're singing Lotsky. Come on.
How to hit a home run.
When that ball comes across the plate, you're going to slap the hell out of the ball.
His message to the media.
There's a new sheriff in town, so get ready. And the media across the country, put some more hot sauce on your chicken wings this season. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The definition of mediocrity.
What is the definition of mediocrity? It's just a consistent, it's based within a class of, dominant class of people with a belief of being mediocre.
What he has learned from the workplace.
I've had the good fortune to work for UPS and Walmart, two of the biggest companies in the world. Global, worldwide. You know what they preach? Team. You never abandon your team or your partner in a storm when they're struggling.
And his never-ending love for the hog train whistle.
Hey, hear the whistle blow, because it's going to be blowing.
Okay. Does that do it for you? You want to hear it again?
I want to hear it one more time, because this fan base, our sense is not ready. You better get ready, because this coaching staff,
You want to hear it one more time?
Hey, let me hear the whistle.
Thank you, Eddie. We look forward to hearing Eddie back on the show sometime soon. Hey, guys, if you're looking for the perfect piece of jewelry this Christmas season, Swift's is the place to go, bringing you the 12 Days of Christmas. They got their very own signature watches, men and women, diamond and colored gemstone jewelry, officially licensed Razorback apparel or engravable gifts, I should mention, and jewelry. They have the custom engraving machine right there in the store to engrave a personalized message onto just about anything. Beautifully packaged and ready to put under the tree this holiday season. It's all at Swift's, located on the Fayetteville Square right above Hugo's. Check them out at swiftsjewelry.com and on social media at Swift's Jewelry. And stay tuned for your chance to win a special Christmas package from Swift's.
Sports Talk's Drive at 5 is presented by Heartland Honda, your locally owned Honda Power Sports dealer. Work hard, play hard.